Morning and welcome
Good
to
morning.
who are viewing this program. I invite all the respected panelists. We have a very good team today presenting us the how to overcome the challenges of online teaching during COVID times. This 1.5 years has been really bad. We have been personally affected in our lives, and I know the same has happened in your families too, your extended families. So the good news is that we are positive people. We need to overcome these challenges. And today we have a great, wonderful team across the country, and they are going to share us different aspects on how we can overcome these challenges, whether it's parents, whether it's teachers or students. We need some concrete techniques to overcome this because there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of negativity. We have to change all that into positivity. So on this note, I will invite our first speaker of the day, Sudha Ravi ma'am, who is a very, very renowned person in the CBSE circles, taken a lot of sessions, written the English books. And I will want her to share the emotional challenges that are associated, because we all talk about technical challenges and, so what are the emotional challenges that students are facing and what are they going through? So she will be the best person to enlighten us. So Sudha Ravi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Matthews. Thank you for having me over, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. And so there is, Alan Cohen, one of the speakers on personality and all that. He makes a very profound statement. He says there is virtue in work and there is virtue in rest. Use both and overlook neither. Right? So, with that opening statement, I'm going to be starting today's session. Of course, there is a lot to say and lot to talk and lot to share. I may be leaving out certain things for paucity of time, but straight away, let us get into the topic. I'm here to talk to you about the emotional, challenges that one goes through and what can we do to overcome these challenges. So when we look at the school or the education system, because here we are all educators, we come from the school background. So let us confine ourselves to that area. So the three main stakeholders are the teachers, the parents, and the students, right? So these are the three main stakeholders, pillars of a system, a school system, an education system. And what are they going through? What are the emotional challenges that these three stakeholders are facing is what we would look into. I would be talking to some extent about the challenges and then some ways to overcome these challenges. So when we are talking about emotions, when we are talking about challenges, you see, emotions are something that we all have, okay? Emotions is not something new that comes into the system or that it has come because there is COVID. Emotions are our basic feelings, isn't it? So when we talk of emotions, there is negative emotions and there are positive emotions. So the online system, the online methodology has brought to the fore a lot of emotions. The challenge of the whole online system itself. Because from a student point of view, a school is not just sitting in front of a computer and going after class, right? For them, it is a community. It is a place where they go, they play, they engage with their friends, they engage with their teachers, they have curricular activities, they have sports activities. So all that is not there for them. So they are just sitting with their desktops and laptops and attending one period after the other, okay, from a student perspective. That's what is happening. So there are a lot of emotions that the student is going through. There is uncertainty, there is anxiety, there is anger, lot of anger at one level, anger caused by anxiety and uncertainty. Okay, so all this, how does the child overcome? How can we as adults in the system, the teachers and the parents, what can we do to help these children overcome? Okay, that is what we will look at. Now, when we talk of teachers, it's not been easy for them too. Teachers are at home as well. They are parents. Okay. So they are doubling up. They are parents at home and they are teachers. Now, in this online system, the space, the teacher space and the parent space is in the same physical space. In one room, they are behaving like a teacher to 30, 40 students. And as they get out, they have their children, the family, the spouses asking them for food, and all that is happening. So the lines are very blurred. It is a 24/7 kind of situation for them. So they are going through a lot of anxiety. There are many teachers who have issues with online teaching itself. All of us belong to that generation. We have not seen computers as students, as teachers, right? So that challenge is there. They are grappling with the digital challenge where they don't know how to log in, they don't know what to do, how to do it, exactly all those issues they are grappling. So the teacher community is facing its own challenge: completion of syllabus, how to finish in the period assigned to them, etc., etc. Then coming to the parent, there are parents who are teachers and there are parents who are homemakers and there are parents who are working in a different space. They might be working in the IT field or some other field, doctors, etc., etc. So they have their own challenges. They have now the children sitting right there in the houses, in the homes, in another room, and they can see the teachers. So the children have to be made to sit in front of the computer. They have to also monitor. They're forced to, they feel like monitoring, they want to see whether the children are attending the classes. So this is the variety of issues that children are facing. These are the emotions. Now, when we talk of overcoming these challenges, right, there is also the challenge of grief. With the second COVID wave, there is so much grief. They are listening to news about family, people, neighborhood, among friends, people uh, kind of suffering from COVID, death due to COVID. So as children, they just don't know how to handle all this. So when we say that these are so many challenges, then what can be done? So here comes our life skills. Here comes what CBSE has always been talking about. We have been talking about life skill education. We have been talking about having life skill classes. So this is real life situation. The two important life skills that come to use here are communication and collaboration. As a family, we need to collaborate. We need to come together. We need to spend time together beyond the digital space. We can do activities like playing board games together, storytelling, listening to stories, putting the podcast so that you don't look at the screen, but you're listening to stories, having chain story games at home, right? Telling about your childhood, just engage with children as parents. Now, as teachers, you could start your class with a little chain story activity so that, you straight away don't jump into the subject matter. So have a little such like activities which will help the children to release those negative emotions. So you do some such activity which will help them to talk about something other than their studies. Also, they would bring out emotions about COVID or their friends suffering. All this will come out. We need to give them that space and time to talk, to communicate, to be able to share. We need to listen to them. We need to be empathetic listeners. We need to start with that first. Many of us don't have the time, we don't have the wherewithal, we are grappling with our own issues and we say, oh, this is not the time, I don't have the time now, I'll talk to you later. So that is what puts the children onto the back foot. They start stifling their emotions, they don't talk about it. So that leads to a very, very lot of pent up emotions, negative emotions getting bottled up. So some of the things, if you have little physical space, a terrace or a front yard or a courtyard, play little games with them, frisbee, shuttle, So there is some outlet for the energy, pent up energy, and they sweat it out. Sweating in that sense is very good. It releases a lot of positive hormones. The endorphins get released from the system and they help us, right? So life skills have to come into the whole scheme of things, right? And listening, then receiving the information, then analyzing it, then responding to it. So as teachers and parents, we need to do this. We need to listen, we need to receive, think, understand, and respond. We need to respect their concerns, their thought processes. Okay. And as adults, yes, as I said earlier, it is a 24-bar situation, but we need to take out time for ourselves. We need to take out 30 to 60 minutes for ourselves. We need to cope with this. So how can we do this? So we need to take what we call as the me time. Okay. So we could do some physical activities like yoga. We could engage in meditation, journal writing. Journal writing is a very good thing, because you're reflecting and you're writing. So a lot of emotions come out. Many things we are not able to talk and share, even with very close people in the family, with our own spouses, with our own parents at times. So the best way is to, write. Writing is very, very therapeutic in nature. Doing hand, things with your hand. For example, I will show you, of course, this is not anything that is very great, but some origami, right? I learned it in one of the sessions. So, anything that we do with our hand is very therapeutic. So paper folding activities, paper cutting activities. So I just keep doing all this because it keeps me busy. My focus changes. My entire focus changes from brooding, thinking, and wallowing in self-pity to doing something and focusing. So these kind of activities, we don't have to be perfect in this. There is no one looking for perfection. There are no marks being given here. Just engaging with a piece of paper and a pair of scissors really, really helps. You see, what we need to do, as humans, we are very resilient. We have the resilience in us. Okay? So when we are, what is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back. So we all do it. So now what is happening here? The time that is being taken to bounce back is very long because pandemic is all over the place. Everybody, neighborhood, city, state, country, world, okay? When we have floods, when we have earthquakes, it is confined to one city, one place, one state. We do feel sad when we see the news, but we move on. But here, it is all over the place. So that being the situation, how do you build in that resilience? Resilience is, as I said, the time to bounce back. So we need to reduce this time to bounce back. All of us can. It's okay to feel angry. It is okay to feel anxious. It is okay to be irritated. Okay? We need to share this. We need to come out openly. Parents should call out the emotions. Teachers should call out the emotions. Calling out, accepting, and then moving forward is what is the need of that hour. And when we do such activities, the time between feeling a negative emotion and bouncing back gets reduced. That is what we need to do. We can't say, I won't feel like this. We are all not superhumans. We are not yogic people. But we need to reduce this. We can't keep brooding. Then it goes to the next step. Unfortunately, the counselor and all those people come in if we are not able to bounce back fast. So that is what is the crux of dealing with an emotional challenge. The ability to bounce back faster, the ability to become resilient human beings, develop more resilience through activities. So with small children, we can do these activities. With teens, we can do a lot of talking. We can see today class 12 children are giving us ideas on how to conduct board examination. So children know a lot. Okay, they are sitting on the channels and talking with so much confidence. It's amazing to watch them share their thoughts. In that kind of a world is where we are living. So we need to engage with them. We can't say, oh, I'm not going to tell them. We have to, no, hush, hush. put it across to them the way they will understand best. Whatever is their age group, accordingly, we need to, format what we are going to say and share with them. We should even share about people going through all this, death, everything. I mean, this is reality. So how are we going to run away from this reality? So I think,
Thank you, Sudha ma'am.
yeah,
I know you have lots more to say. Probably
yes,
we'll organize something very specific to all these later on.
Yeah,
So as of now, since time is running out, I'll invite our next speaker. Thank you so much for sharing those personal experiences with your vast experience. I'm sure it's going to be a learning experience for a lot of people who are listening here. And now I will invite another very senior resource person, Alka Rai ma'am, to unmute herself, and also she'll be speaking on, and with a great experience. She's also a resource person, has been a writer of books, a resource person with CBSE, worked in schools, traveled exquisitely. So just like Sudha ma'am, Alka ma'am is also one of our senior panelists here. And she's here. I would request her, because when the COVID started, the main thing that the students faced was the digital divide. I have this, I don't have this. Okay, so everybody started with their laptops and mobiles. So ma'am, would you like to share on this digital divide? Like, what were the challenges that the students faced, and do you think that there is a solution for all this?
Thank you so much, Mr. Matthews, for inviting me on this panel and giving me this opportunity to share my observation and ideas on this. I was going through the annual status education report, which says there is a stark digital divide between the rural, not only the rural and urban areas, but within the urban areas as well. Why? Why has this happened? Let's look at the background. This pandemic has thrust us into, technologically aided education, into online education, where I don't think we were structurally or in any way prepared to go into this. There's always been a divide between quality education, where not only in urban areas, but especially when it comes to rural areas. Now that divide gets even widened because of the digital divide. Why is there this digital divide? I would use an umbrella term and say accessibility. And under that accessibility, I would like to talk about, first of all, we say electricity. Well, the statistics say that 99.9% of India has electricity connection, the households have. But that does not necessarily mean that the country is luminous right now all over, because of the erratic supply of electricity, especially where the rural and remote areas are concerned. Why there? I'm living in Noida, and I can tell you that it's so erratic. I can't be sure whether in the next half an hour I'm going to have electricity power connection or not at all. So this becomes a problem. I'll be talking about this more. But the second one is the most important one, and that is the lack of electronic devices. It is true that today, most of the households, we say almost 75 to 80% of households have smartphones, but a smartphone in the entire household. All households don't have, a supply of or a variety of electronic devices. Maybe just 27% of the urban area learners have that. They could have a laptop, they could have a iPad, they could have a smartphone. But let's look at it across the country. Even in the urban areas, in the rural areas, if it is just a smartphone, it is one smartphone in the household. And the question is, ek anar so bimar. There might be 2 or 3 school-going children who would need that smart device. So this again generates, or it, actually propagates gender bias also, because the families feel, let the male child have it. The girl child is shunted into the background. So a further, divide gets created over there. The gender divide comes in. Having said that, do they all have the net connection? That is a problem. Now, I'll put both these things together. availability of electronic device and net connection. Let's talk about the devices first. We have seen pandemic has created a lot of financial problems. People have lost their jobs. People have got stunted salaries. Now, how do those people afford a one device per child in the house? Not possible at all. Not possible at all. Hence, what happens in the rural areas or in those homes in the cities where they are not able to afford this, the education divide increases. There are more and more learners who don't have accessibility to education. This digital divide, this divide that is dependent, this particular ability or online education that is so dependent on electricity and internet connection has these problems also. Internet connection, not available everywhere, even in cities. I'm talking of, I can tell you that even the state capitals don't have. Nagaland, Kohima, there is a severe problem of internet connection. I know it because my grandson faces it every day. That's the capital. We have it here also. There are service providers who say, you please take our services and we will give you 24 hours internet, we will subsidize it. But they are only promises. A lot is desired to achieve that. It does not happen, unfortunately. In the remote areas, no electricity, no digital device, no online connection. What do those children do? So what is happening now is that those children are not getting education at all. Isn't that a sad state of affairs? It's really a sad state of affairs. It paints a really very grim picture where at the end of this, we will have just selected number of or percentage of learners who would be educated, who would get some kind of education. And there'll be a large number totally deprived of education. A very grim picture. But having said that, there is no problem. There is no problem that is insurmountable. I'm sure there are ways of finding it. I'm sure if it comes to availability of digital device, if the authorities says, just move into it and they do something about maybe indigenously made tablets given out to the children, maybe free to some or on minimal prices to some, I think that achieves two-pronged benefit. Availability of device, and secondly, our motto of Atmanirbhar and Make in India also gets a boost. So that can happen. Another thing is, that we say that it could be increasing Ethernet connectivity. It could be subsidizing data. It could be making free data available to the children, which is not difficult. We are capable of doing it. We are capable of doing it. And you and I think in our homes, we have plenty of devices which we are not using. Can we just have them, refurbished or something and share it with those children? At least that is something as individuals we can do. So as I said, the picture may be grim, but if you and we decide to do something about it, I'm sure we can do a lot. Reaching out to the rural areas will depend on the authorities. The government has to step in and do something about it. I think we have time problem constraint, Mr. Matthews. So I stop because other panelists need time. But before I stop, I must thank you for having me here and giving me this opportunity of sharing my views. I think I might have taken a little less time than what I was supposed to.
Yeah, so I was just planning to ask you a question.
Yes.
So there was a question from one of the teachers, I suppose.
Yes.
That, probably the students were better prepared, teachers were caught unawares. So
Yes,
do you have?
another problem, Mr. Matthews. That is what I wanted to touch on, but I stopped because of the
Yeah.
time.
So
Because
just to, you
schools
can
are
take
not.
a minute to
Yeah.
probably.
The thing is that maybe, in our public schools, in our privileged schools, elite schools, teachers are better prepared. And even if they're not, they have taken to it like fish to water, So we got ourselves, our teachers got themselves ready in no time, and they've done a wonderful job of it. But what about those teachers there in remote areas? They hardly have textbooks and technology. They don't know the T of technology. How do they manage? That is something, again, we need to do. I think the government needs to step in and make sure that they are given technological wherewithal to be able to teach the children. There is another thing that is there, that is paucity of content for those children in the regional languages. I think we need to look into that as well. That is another problem. So thank you for giving me this extra time so that I could speak about these two things which I was supposed to leave out. But thank you so
ma'am.
much.
And thankfully those questions came up in the chat, and
Yes.
people were.
That's why I think I got the time also,
Yes.
You gave me the time because I had them here, but I said, my God, I was looking at the time running out. I said, I too much.
Yeah. So as I said, this is just the beginning. So we are going to have a lot more sessions, because a lot of people are agreeing with you. They want more information, and I'm sure you will be planning with us more and more sessions on this topic, so that each topic that each resource person is taking today for 7 or 8 minutes is actually, we can extend it to 40 minutes, 50 minutes, so that
we can
people
say,
are really
Mr. Matthews, it's just a trailer.
पिक्चर अभी बाकी है. Good one.
अभी पिक्चर बाकी है दोस्तों, आप रुकिए.
Very good, excellent. So on that note, thank you once more, and I will invite now Nisha ma'am, who's our next speaker. She's a principal of a very prestigious institution in Lucknow. So it's over to you, ma'am, with your experience and your knowledge. I'm sure the topic that you are going to take today on gamification of learning, because the learning is so monotonous in many of the places that children, as I can see the comments also, there are a lot of students who just switch on the camera and then they're probably playing some games. So I think gamification of learning is going to be one of the crux of what every teacher or educator should know, and I'm glad that you're touching upon this topic today. Nisha ma'am, it's over to you.
A very good afternoon and warm greetings from my side to my co-panelist, and my gratitude to Matthew sir for inviting me here in this webinar with the topic overcoming challenges of online education during COVID times. And today in this, I want to take up the topic gamification in education. What I feel is that in present scenario, learning is being switched to online mode now, because most of the classes are being, it's not even blended learning, it's being totally online. And it happens many times that children do go offline, and teachers are not able to monitor and get to know if the student is involved in learning activities. So what if we can make the children learn in a way? So if the child goes offline or switch off the camera, teachers are sure that child is involved in learning. We can do that when we introduce game-based teaching to students. I know the technology is involved here, but then those teachers who can take up that can take up, because I think then no child will either go offline, or if they will go offline, you will be assured that they are learning with the given learning tools by you. Games have a remarkable motivational power. They utilize a number of mechanisms to encourage children to engage with them, and it is just for the joy of playing and the possibility to win. It's not for any reward most of the times, because game is just for the joy of playing. And I feel that motivation is very, very central and fundamental topic in education also techniques such as feedback, ordering learning task by their complexities, personalization, etc., they all are fundamentally essential for games as they are for education. Now, if we talk about gamification, it is the use of game metaphors, game elements, and ideas in a context which is different from that of the games in order to increase motivation and commitment and to influence users' behavior. So, learning games are games which are designed for a specific purpose related to training. They are not just for fun. They possess all game elements, they look like games, but their objective is to achieve something that is already predetermined, that is already decided, that is already determined by the educators. Now, few things that we have to see what are in the games. In the games, all the users, that means all the students, they are the participants, they all participate. There are challenges, there are tasks which the users perform, and then they progress to the given defined objectives. And in education, we have the learning objectives. They have the points which are being accumulated, and they are the result of the task which they have executed during the learning time using the games as a tool. They have different levels which they pass on, and according to the levels the points are being decided. They have been served badges as the rewards when they complete their actions, and later on, if we want, we can even allot them ranks according to their achievements. But why gamification is important so much in education? Because according to the survey, the use of game mechanics improves the ability to learn new skills by 40%, which is really difficult to make the children learn easily. The main problem which now we are focusing in the modern education is related to the lack of engagement and motivation for the students to participate actively in the learning process. And because of that, the teachers try to use new techniques, approaches to make the students participate in actively, and they motivate them to participate in learning. But one possible solution is to reward the efforts, which leads to increased motivation for participation and activity. That decision is based on the use of game elements in the learning process. Gamification in education is the use of game mechanics and elements in educational environment. It is one of the educational approaches and techniques that increases motivation and engagement of learners. It helps to engage students, motivate their actions, promote learning, and solve their problems easily and quickly. Gamification is the use of game thinking approaches and elements which are in context which is different from the game, or we can say that it is an integration of game element and game thinking in activities that are not actually games. Games have some distinctive features which play a key role in gamification. Now, implementation of game elements in education is logical, since there are some facts that are typical for the games and trainings. That is, the students, or we can say the users, action in games are aimed at achieving a specific goal. What is a specific goal? The specific goal is to win in the presence of obstacles. Now, in education, there's a learning objective which has to be achieved by performing specific learning activities or interaction with educational content. Tracking the player's progress in games is an important element, because next steps and moves are based on their results. Now, in education, tracking the students' progress is essential to achieve the learning objectives. Students' learning path is determined by the achieved level of knowledge and skills. Gamification is not directly associated with knowledge and skill. It affects students' behavior, commitment, motivation, which can lead to the improvement of knowledge and skills. And how we can have gamification in education? The first thing which I feel is we must determine learners' characteristics. When teachers implement new approaches in learning process, it is essential to define students' characteristics in order to determine whether the new tools and the new techniques will be suitable for them or not. Accordingly, the new techniques or tools have to be designed. The learning objectives, they must be specific, they must be very, very clearly defined. Even the students must be aware of the learning objectives that they will be fulfilling once the class or is complete, or once that tool is being utilized. The educational content that the educators will be using have to be interactive, engaging, and rich in multimedia elements. The learning activities need to be designed so that the students can repeat them in case of an unsuccessful attempt. It is very, very important to create conditions and opportunities to achieve the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to achieve the learning outcomes. So as a result of repetitions, students will improve their skills. So one should be, whatever tool that we are using in gamification, we have to see that each child, whether a slow learner, whether a meritorious, good achiever, should be able to achieve the goal that we have taken up to be achieved. So maybe the path may be different, the path may be slow, but then they should be able to achieve that. It should be kept in the focus. And each subsequent task which the child has to perform, it has to be every time to be kept more complex, which require more efforts from the students. And accordingly, the new acquired knowledge and skill must be for the child, and accordingly he should acquire the knowledge and the skill. Once the child is passing the task, he should be able to acquire new knowledge and skill according to the given level which we are giving. So I think one must have the different path, keep the different path in the learning tools that we will be making for, or we will be adopting for the children. There are right now many new tools which are there, which are available, and most of the tools are free of cost. If we want to assess them, we can assess. There are many learning tools for which again a more workshop can be organized for on gamification, to learn those tools.
Thank you, ma'am. We are running a little short of time, so we'll
sure.
stop this here.
Sure. Thank you so much.
These are all topics which can be extended, so we are just,
Yes.
as Alka ma'am rightly said, this is only the trailer.
Yes, it's a trailer only.
So
yes.
there are lots of questions in the chat. If you are, if you will be able to answer those questions in the chat itself, will be good. There are questions based that can you provide some educational gaming links for senior classes. There are questions like how will you connect. So probably you can answer all these in the chat, ma'am. So when you are free, I think we will be able to connect with them. We'll be able to give them links. So all those who are asking these questions, since there is paucity of time, we'll not be able to answer all these questions in this discussion. But ma'am will be answering some of these questions on the chat. So thank you, Nisha ma'am, for your valuable time. And now we move on to our next speaker, Deepika Malik ma'am, who again has got a wide range of experience as the principal of school. She is the ex-principal of Kirorimal Public School, and basically a subject expert in economics. So we are glad that she is here to give her valuable inputs on mental stress. Now, mental stress is one of the factors of depression in children, of them not performing well in the class, and this pandemic and this sudden change to online has made a big difference in their lives. So Deepika Malik, ma'am, if you could and elaborate on the mental stress that students are going through and how to overcome it, basically.
Good afternoon, all my co-panelists and Matthew sir, and thank you for inviting me, giving me this an opportunity, and greetings to all the audience. Yeah, talking about mental stress is growing since children are sitting online for hours and hours. They are studying virtually. They are not interacting with the people, with the children, with the peers, with their classmates. They're not moving out. They are just on the screens, laptops and computers and continuously studying for hours and hours, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours even. So that is leading to mental exhaustion. So this mental exhaustion reduces their concentration, their grasping and their understanding. Now, when all these gets affected, definitely it affects the child's efficiency, the efficacy, the productivity. When the child is not able to perform because of all these stresses, naturally he's under teacher's pressure to perform because teacher thinks they are doing the best and the output should also be there, which doesn't come as desired. The parents also, the child is under parental pressure because parents also want the child is sitting home and doing nothing. He has to perform, he or she has to give the results. So child is too much under pressure. And because of lack of any fixed physical activity, because of lack of outside going or with the mixing up with the peers, the stress increases, it affects the mental health, it affects the overall mental status of the child. Moreover, a child was in class 3 in 19 and he was promoted to class 4 in 2020, sitting at home online. He cleared his exams and now he's supposed to be in class 5. He is in class 5. Now he's jumped from 3rd to 4th to 5th. Fine, he knows the syllabus, a bit of it, whatever was done, but his mental growth, the emotional growth, the actual growth of his mind has not occurred. Because when the child goes to school, he learns much more. So the teachers are under the pressure that now the child has come from 3rd to 4th and 5th, and how much he knows, how much he doesn't know, nobody knows. I mean, the teacher is not very clear. Fine, and similarly, the children who have passed from class 3 to class 4 and now in class 5. So one class they have done, completed, sitting at home. So that level of a child in class 5 is not there. So child is also under pressure that how much he should know or how much he is expected. So the stress is increasing and increasing with this online mode. Now this online, the child's growth, the physical, the mental growth which should have occurred from going from class 3 to class 4 has actually not occurred. And when the school reopens, definitely this stress is going to increase. We don't know how much the child knows because virtual learning doesn't give a clear idea, clear picture. So all these things, this pressure, this mental exhaustion, mental stress, and to perform better, to at least do something, is really increasing amongst the students and leading to frustrations, anger, irritation, irritability also. Now, on the other hand, I have to suggest, I have to give the solutions. I can suggest some solutions. In this regard, from the school side, from the management side, it can be the management should organize, the schools should organize regular talks with the students, and they can even consult a counselor. They can even hire a counselor to solve certain issues of certain students. It may not be with many students, maybe with some students, more problems. So that can be done. On the part of the teachers, again, teachers play a pivotal role. They have to see that child performs, child does well, child grows. So in that regard, first thing the teachers can do should be adopting interactive teaching, like the activity-based teaching. The learning, they have to facilitate learners. The teachers are facilitators. So they have to increase the learning power, the grasping, the understanding of the child. And in that case, the teachers have to adopt certain ways, certain practical ways and certain interactive ways to involve the children in the classes. The senior students can be given group discussions can be organized online where the children will get a chance to speak and they'll be able to speak out and not just listen and listen. It will not be one-sided. They can speak. Role play can be adopted where the children can be given role to perform, to enact, to do any activity to related to the chapter. So that way the chapter learning will be easier. Similarly, for the slideshows can be shown to the students to create their interest and make learning easier. The virtual tours can be shown by the teachers. The slideshows can be given. And in the junior classes, specifically in the primary also, there are so many things which the teachers can do. Activity-based learning, as Nisha ma'am also said, gamification in learning. So activities can be given. The children can be informed a day before that they should bring these things in the class. And in front of the children, the teachers should perform and the teachers should also do the same thing. Like example can be collect beans. Right, I'll give just one example. A maths teacher has asked the students to bring the beans and keeping the beans in class, and then she can teach this concept of addition and subtraction. Now, how can she teach? She can say, okay, addition means when you have, say, 7 beans or 10 beans, you take 5 more or 2 from somebody. So when he'll be taking 5 more, that means he is taking. Taking means addition. So that way he will learn through a very lighter way. And when the teacher will ask, okay, now you give this 5 beans to your mother or to your sister, whosoever is there, just keep aside. So that means that is giving away. So giving away is subtraction. So that can be one kind of activity for the primary. So that means the child is not exactly just listening to the teacher's lecture or teacher's whatever is saying, or he is involving and he's learning the concept in much better way. Similarly, English teachers face a problem. Now, English teachers should be taking up a issue of tenses. So in that case, the child can be asked, okay, what are you going to do today? So for today, every child will be speaking one sentence. So they learn that this is present tense. Next day, the teacher can ask the child to speak anything which you did yesterday. So 15, 20 students will speak and the child will know that, okay, what had happened, what has happened in the past is past tense. Something like that. So this way, the activity-based teaching, interactive teaching, GDs, everything definitely can help the children to increase their grasping power. Increase in grasping power and it will increase the understanding, I should say. And if understanding increases, we can say that a child will be under lesser mental stress. So all these things definitely will definitely lead to reduction in mental stress. Moreover, the children should be communicating, though it's virtually, still we are dependent on virtual interaction only, but some teamwork, some collaborative work in the middle section can be given, and in which again the children can talk to each other, talk with the teacher. So communication should be more open. The teacher should be more flexible. If the child is not able to do work in a stipulated period of time, teacher should understand and give some flexibility to at least the sincere children, to the children who are really actually involved in the work. So Again, there's a question, vocabulary, how to increase the vocabulary. You can, in the junior students or in the middle section, you can give a one word or something and tell the students to, in 1 minute, write down all the words you see around yourself, starting from A, starting from B, something like that. And because there's positive time, I'll give in personal chat, I'll give more answers if you want. And I think I have to sum up here. This would
Thank
be.
you so much, ma'am. Deepika, ma'am, there was a lot of clarity on what you spoke.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you said, there are a lot of questions coming up in the chat. So all the resource persons can answer. So it's not that if you are watching the YouTube link, you can make, it's not necessary because of positive time that you take up all these questions, but we will try to answer as many questions as people have asked in the chat. So if you could log on to the YouTube channel, you will find all these questions asked by all of them. So you could probably answer those questions there. So thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time. We are grateful for all this, and we'll be having more sessions on this because this is a very, very important topic, and parents and students really need to come out of it. So without wasting much time, I will introduce our next speaker, Jaya ma'am. Jaya ma'am, you can unmute yourself. Jaya ma'am, she's also a very experienced educator working with summer fields. And what we would like to know is that you've been teaching online classes last year. Before that, every student was in class. So you must have found that there is a lot of etiquettes that are required by the students. You know, some people are not aware probably, and some students don't want to do it. So you could probably suggest what are the basic online etiquettes that students require as of now, because this is going to continue, I think, for this year also. So over to you, Jaya.
Thank you, Matthew sir, for being the launchpad and making it possible for me to be a part of this forum. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be a part of this esteemed group of panelists. Aren't we all facing the same problem of teaching online etiquettes to our students? Yes, we are. When we say thank you, please, excuse me, these are all good etiquettes. They cost nothing. Sometimes when we meet a person face to face, we form an impression about the person based on their body language, facial expression, voice tone. But it is difficult to do the same when you interact with someone online. We find that the technology is changing the way we live, the way we work and learn. The lines between our online and offline worlds continue to merge and blur. We have seen since the past 1 year, since March 2020. Of course, our world is becoming increasingly digital. Our challenges and responsibilities are also increasing too. What I find is teaching students about online etiquette and internet safety is more important than ever since the global pandemic. Since March 2020, there has been a lot of transition from the physical classroom to the online teaching. While we teachers have adjusted to new way of teaching, students also had to adjust to new way of learning at the same time. And with this online teaching, I came across and experienced, which I'm going to share with you, and many of us may have faced the same. I found students were perennially late for the online classes. Some students were reluctant to put their videos on. I found some students would be sitting on the bed with the pillows around and laptop, merrily attending the class. Some students were found to be with unkempt hair and some with long painted nails. During my class, sometimes I found some students were absolutely in their casuals, which is not allowed, we wouldn't have allowed in our physical classrooms. There were times the mics were not kept on mute. There were variety of sounds could be heard from the other sides, the dogs barking, and many of us during our classes must have come across the doorbells ringing. Sometimes it distracts us from the subject that we are teaching. There were times, sometimes, some unwanted participants entered the class by renaming themselves in uncivilized language and created a ruckus. This I experienced. Since we were taking the class on Zoom. At the beginning, I didn't have the idea to use the various tools. Slowly, I figured out, and by trial and error and attending workshops, the classes became streamlined. Now, how did I tackle the problem? There were certain expectations that were set at the onset of the classes. It is very important to set the tone of the online class from the first lesson itself. Clear communication regarding expectation will leave no room for students to take the things for granted, which they tend to take. Casual attitude is very, very prevalent among the students we find nowadays. If modeling behavior is implemented, it is the best way to get the students to understand the importance of good etiquette. It is to present oneself in the way one would want the students to be. If, as a teacher, I expect my students to be presentable on screen and be punctual, I myself would ensure that I follow the same. That is to be a good role model for my students to follow. Sometimes, the positive reinforcement also helps. And that brings out, if we publicly acknowledge good behavior and identify some examples within the class and amplify them, it multiplies, and even students start focusing on their classes. This I have experienced myself. So recognition, appreciation, everyone likes, don't we? So everyone, after all, likes to be recognized. The strategy that I implemented, and it helped me a lot in ensuring good etiquette to be maintained online. What I did in my class was I identified a group of 2 or 3 students from a class and made them the link between the teacher and the student. So I let them be the voice that the students hear, so that I could focus on the subject matter, and let these students, 2, 3 students, drop privately chat messages if some norm was not being followed, and let them maintain a record sheet and report back later on. And essentially, I could focus on the class and these children kept eyes on the online class. It becomes quite exciting for them, and if the students are empowered, the things become easier for us in online classes. I practice 3 C's. That is, I connect with the students so that their creativity increases and also their focus and concentration. So connect, create, and concentrate. Now, I some strategies I plan to maintain the decorum of the online classes. I made a checklist for my students so that they could feel that they are in the classroom setup, even though they must be in some corner of from their house, they must be taking the class. So what I did was children should preferably wear uniform, not in casuals. They should have their notebooks, writing materials organized by their side before the class starts. They must greet their teachers like they do there in their physical classroom. They must be in time for their class. If they have a question, they should raise their hand. They should not talk in between when their teacher is talking. They should not switch off their video when the classes are on. They should wait for their turn to speak. They should be polite and stay to the point and be brief in their query. If their query is more, I tell my students to wait for the Q&A session at the end of the lesson so that we respect others' time and don't waste time. Respect the opinion of other students and the teacher. Proper use of language, civilized language. They should sit upright and preferably on a study chair with a table. Students' computer should be on mute when the teacher is teaching. If they want to take a washroom break or a water break, they should take the permission. This is on the lines of how one can establish and manage good decorum in an online classroom. There are, it is just endless when we talk about online etiquettes. The time constraints are there. So at the end, I will say that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya ma'am. So all the points well explained, and there were lots and lots of interactions going on, and I am grateful to the resource persons who are also answering all the chats to the questions. There are so many questions coming up, so thank you for once again for that. So Jaya ma'am, that was really wonderfully summed up on online etiquettes, what the students are supposed to do. Many of them at least have got the idea of what has to be done. So that's very important. Thank you for your precious time. And now I will invite Sumana Rakshit ma'am, our next speaker, a very, very experienced retired teacher from Cambridge School, who was a physics teacher. And she is going to take up something very, a topic which is very unique, that is honesty in learning. And it's very important in today's times because it's not they're going to a school and there is an invigilator or two invigilators, monitoring them. An online examination is totally different. And those who are preparing the results of class 10 or any class for that matter will see the marks have suddenly increased. So this topic is very, very important of honesty in learning. So I will invite Sumana ma'am to start her session. Yes, ma'am. You can unmute yourself, ma'am. Sumana ma'am, are you there? Yes, ma'am. Are you there? Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself. One second. Yes, ma'am, you speak. I have unmuted you.
Is it okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it
please?
Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Please start.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this group where we have such experienced speakers. And good afternoon, everyone. I will be talking on a very simple topic. Actually, challenges are there for online teaching. and learning process. But how do we meet them? Now, I think honesty in learning can help to some extent to meet some of the challenges. But for that, we have to change our mindset about the outcome of teaching learning process from marks to only learning. I'll tell some experiences. I observed one teacher while checking the papers was quite unhappy to see so many students scoring high. So I asked, what's the matter? She said she felt they have used unfair means. A friend of mine, she's helping her grandson with the classes. So she said they were given a task where they were asked to write some words sounding same, like pan, man, can, jug, mug, like that. And they were asked to draw a triangle, right angle triangle, with on the base of the hypotenuse they make a hut, at the center a tree, and at the top a flag. And after the task, they were supposed to mark themselves by placing where they have reached. Now this boy, he made one or two mistakes. So when my friend asked him, where have you reached? He said, the flag. Then she had to explain, no, you have made two mistakes, so you have reached the tree. The child was very upset. Then she had to pacify him and said that it is good, but next time he can do better. Next day, when the teacher in the next class asked other students also, where have they reached? One or two said flag. Teacher said good. Many said they have reached the tree. Teacher said good. And one or two said they have reached the hut. The teacher said good. So what does this say? That it is not the marks. It is the effort that you have made to learn something. We believe in learning, and that is how we instill honesty in learning. Now, teachers, parents, students, they are all facing problems. Teachers, they have doubts whether children are understanding the concepts or not, whether they're attending seriously or not, or about the examination, the evaluation part, whether they are using any unfair means. Similarly, students, they also have problems. Some of them are not able to follow the pace of the class. The concepts, it's difficult to understand in the online stage. And some of them are not able to concentrate in the class because there is no one to monitor. And about the evaluation part, those who are doing their classes seriously, they enjoy doing the exams at home because there is a very free atmosphere, no one to police them. But those who are not serious, they have no other means but to cover the gap. They do use unfair means. Parents, I asked a couple, both of them are working from home. How do they manage their children who are having online classes? They said it is very difficult to monitor throughout. Sometimes they do peep in, and so many times the mother found the little boy, hiding under the table or somewhere and not doing the work. So what they do is, after the class, when they get time, they sit with them, they discuss, and they do ask them, what have you done? Aaj kya seekha? So what they are instilling is the accountability, ownership, and they want them to work independently. Now the solutions, all these problems are there, So to bring in learning, because I've heard other speakers also talking about their performance, the performance we always think of marks, but we have to shift our mind from marks to learning. Now, due to online classes, the accountability of teachers, which was totally on them earlier in the offline classes, the physical classes, now they are little free from that. It is there, but now parents are also accountable, at least morally. So what teachers should do? They should rope in the parents in the teaching learning process. They should interact with the parents regularly so that students also know that there is a link between, it is targeted, and they have to make them active partners in this process. Now students, what can they do? They have the opportunity to learn the best way, and that is self-study. Now for self-study, they have to be disciplined. They have to schedule their whole day's schedule by writing the assignments, completing the task, or even learning after the class for deeper understanding. Students have to understand that the evaluation that is there is, they are not evaluating for marks. They are evaluating the methodology, the method by which they are learning, and they have how to improve upon that. They should take pride in their achievement, and they should not strive for marks. Parents have a big role to play. Parents first, they have to instill honesty, good habits, right values, and ownership in the child. And they have to now, the barrier to the experiential learning within the four walls of the classroom has been broken. The whole world is the classroom now. So parents have the opportunity to relate things to day-to-day life. They can expand their knowledge beyond the pages of the books. So what they have to do is mold their brains towards learning, again, not towards marks. I'll just take up an example, my own experience. I'm helping a child, my maid's grandson, with his online classes. He's in an English school, but a simple school. Now, during this annual exam, before his Hindi exam, he overslept. And when he came in the evening, I got so angry with him. I was so disturbed. I was so worried that how will his revision complete? I mean, Hindi, he had some problems with matras and spellings. So I was very worried. But it didn't come to our mind that how does it matter? The exam will be in our own drawing room, sitting on the table, no one to monitor. No, we didn't think of that. I just thought of learning. And marks, of course, he had improved. But the result, I saw it even today. The child has been promoted from 2nd standard to 3rd standard. Marks was okay, good marks only. But today, the child was reading a Hindi story to his grandmother and to me. I mean, I was so happy that I have achieved. So at the end, what I would say, that parents and teachers have to be role model, guide. They have to help the children to improve, and they have to care for them and build trust, which is very, very important, because no legacy is so rich as honesty. I think, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Sumana ma'am, for giving us those wonderful aspects of honesty, which is actually diminishing in today's times. So it's a reminder for all of us, not only students, for all of us, to be honest to ourselves in our duty. And thank you for bringing in and reinforcing these things. And I'm sure the people who have, there is so many appreciative comments. I'm sure you will be able to follow up that when you are more relaxed while you were speaking. So there were lots and lots of positive comments. Thank you, and great examples that you shared. So it has been a wonderful session with you. Now I will invite, thank you so much. And now I will invite our next speaker, Sarita ma'am. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So Sarita ma'am is a Hindi educator from Birla Open Mind in Hyderabad. And we are happy that, all the speakers have spoken in Hindi so far, English so far, and she's going to give us some idea about involvement of the family. Now, the family is the basic unit of life. Unless family is in control, the society will, go wayward. So she's going to speak on the involvement of the family, the parents, the brothers, sisters, siblings, and ye kitna zaruri hai. And I'm glad that she's speaking in Hindi, because this is one thing that I like, that whatever language that we speak, whether it's Hindi, English, or whatever it is good to communicate to the masses in a language where people understand and people appreciate. And listening to pure chaste Hindi is always a delight. So Sarita ma'am, we welcome you, or yeah, the stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouragement, and thanks for inviting me in this panel discussion. I am very happy to have a part with this discussion. आप हमारा जो अभी जो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि ऑनलाइन शिक्षण के दौरान जो चुनौतियां आ रही हैं उस पे काबू कैसे पाया जाए। परिवार की बात अभी हम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि मैंने इसमें विषय चुना है कि परिवार की भूमिका क्या है, परिवार किस तरह से ऑनलाइन शिक्षण के दौरान आने वाली चुनौतियों पे काबू पाने में हमें सहायता कर सकता है। तो परिवार से तात्पर्य सिर्फ यहाँ पे बच्चों के परिवार नहीं, यानी कि सिर्फ पेरेंट्स नहीं, बल्कि शिक्षक के परिवार की भी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रही है। जैसे कि अभी सुधा मैम ने कहा कि शिक्षक भी बहुत सारे डिजिटल चैलेंजेस से उबर रहे हैं, बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस उनको आ रहे हैं, हर दिन उन्हें एक नई टेक्निक सीखनी पड़ रही है। जो एक पारंपरिक शिक्षा प्रणाली थी उससे उठ के अब वो ऑनलाइन टीचिंग कर रहे हैं, एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है उनके लिए। हम जानते हैं कि एक शिक्षक जो है वो बच्चों को सिखाने से पहले उसे खुद सीखना जरूरी है, और सीखने के लिए हर दिन एक नई चुनौतियां उसके सामने हैं और वो सीख रहा है। लेकिन इसमें सिर्फ उसके स्कूल ही नहीं बल्कि परिवार के सदस्य भी बहुत उनका योगदान दे रहे हैं, ताकि वो अपनी शिक्षण प्रणाली को और ज्यादा सक्षम बना सके और ज्यादा यू कैन से प्रोडक्टिव बना सके। ऐसे में मैं एक उदाहरण देना चाहूंगी आपको कि मेरी एक सहयोगी मित्र थी जो जिन्होंने कभी आज तक पीपीटी नहीं बनाया था, जिन्होंने कभी एक्सेल पे काम नहीं किया था, इवन उन्होंने कभी ईमेल नहीं लिखा था, और वो आज बहुत अच्छा पीपीटी बना रही हैं, बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पेपर बना रही हैं, उनका पैटर्न बहुत अच्छा है, जो कि बहुत ही सराहनीय है। और इसका वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा श्रेय अपने पति और अपने बच्चे को दे रही हैं कि घर में उन्होंने बहुत मेहनत किया है उनके ऊपर, और उन्हें मौका दे रहे हैं कि आप और सीखो, क्योंकि सीखोगे तभी आप सिखाओगे। क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि अ टीचर इज ऑलवेज अ कंटिन्यूअस लर्नर, राइट। सो अगर हम सीखते हैं तभी हम बच्चों को सिखाते हैं, जो कि मैं बार बार दोहरा रही हूँ। दूसरा पक्ष जो है शिक्षकों का, उनके परिवारों के मदद की, उनकी सहभागिता का, उसमें एक बड़ी बात ये आई है कि शिक्षकों का कार्यकाल यानी कि कार्य की जो अवधि है, उनका जो समय है वो बढ़ गया है, और साथ ही साथ उनका वर्कलोड भी बढ़ा है। जनरली लोगों को ये मन में ये भ्रम है कि शिक्षक अभी वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं तो वो बस 2-3 घंटे में उनका काम हो जाता होगा, पर ये सच नहीं है। सच्चाई तो ये है कि अभी वर्कलोड काफी बढ़ा है, उनका समय जो है काम पे वो ज्यादा बढ़ा है। ऐसे में परिवार ही वो एक साधन है या फिर एक टूल के रूप में काम कर रहा है, जो शिक्षकों के लिए एक कहा जाए तो एक ढाल की तरह काम कर रहा है मेरे ख्याल से। क्योंकि ऐसे में परिवार क्या कर रहे हैं, परिवार के कई सदस्यों ने कामों का बंटवारा कर लिया है कि तुम ये करो मैं ये करूं, ताकि हमारा जो टाइम मैनेजमेंट है वो हो सके। साथ ही साथ घर के कामों में उन्होंने अपना योगदान देना शुरू किया है, क्योंकि टीचर एक पेरेंट भी होता है, होती है या होता है, तो ऐसे में उनको परिवार के सदस्यों की जो हेल्प है, जो मदद है, वो बहुत आवश्यक हो जाती है। तीसरा पक्ष मैं ये रखना चाहती हूँ कि टीचर्स के जो मतलब जो लागत है, मतलब टीचर की जो टीचिंग में जो लागत है, यानी कि ऑनलाइन टीचिंग में उनकी लागत कॉस्ट बढ़े हैं। कॉस्ट बढ़ने का तात्पर्य ये है कि टीचर के वाईफाई पे खर्चे हो रहे हैं, डेटा पे खर्चे हो रहे हैं, नेटवर्क कनेक्शन कभी कभी टूटता है। ऐसे समय में मैं एक बार और सुनिश्चित करना चाहती हूँ, हालांकि ये एक बड़ा मुद्दा हो जाएगा कि अभी भी कई स्कूल ऐसे हैं जो टीचर को पूरी सैलरी नहीं दे रहे हैं। ऐसे में अगर उनका परिवार इस समय साथ दे रहा है तो ये बहुत ही बड़ा योगदान है उनके लिए, क्योंकि शिक्षक जो है वो एक प्रण के साथ बच्चे को पढ़ाता है कि वो मेरी ड्यूटी है, वो मेरा कर्तव्य है, और इस कर्तव्य के निर्वहन में उनका परिवार पूरा का पूरा साथ दे रहा है। तो एक बहुत बड़ी बात है। एक और जो एक बड़ी बात और एक सकारात्मक पक्ष आया है टीचर्स के बारे में, वो ये है कि परिवार की सहभागिता इतनी ज्यादा बढ़ी है उनके कार्य में कि शिक्षक जो है वो ग्लोबल हो रहा है, वो वैश्विक हो रहा है। शिक्षक का दायरा अब सीमित नहीं रह गया है। उदाहरण के तौर पे अभी मैं आपके समक्ष बैठी हूँ, ये भी मेरे परिवार का ही योगदान है कि मैं यहाँ पे बैठी हूँ, मैं इतने लोगों के समक्ष अपनी बातों को प्रस्तुत कर रही हूँ, तो इसमें भी परिवार का योगदान है। तो शिक्षण के समय में, यानी कि ऑनलाइन टीचिंग के समय में दो कार्य होते हैं, एक शिक्षण और एक अधिगम यानी कि लर्निंग, यानी एक टीचिंग और एक लर्निंग। तो शिक्षण कार्य अगर सही होगा तो लर्निंग अपने आप सही होगा, ये बात निश्चित है। जितना सहयोग शिक्षक को परिवार से मिलना चाहिए मिल रहा है और मिले, उसके साथ ही बच्चों के साथ भी जो हमारे जो चिल्ड्रन हैं उनके ऊपर भी पेरेंट का साथ बहुत आवश्यक है। साथ दे रहे हैं पेरेंट, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, और पेरेंट का साथ सिर्फ बच्चों को ही नहीं बल्कि टीचर्स के लिए भी आवश्यक है, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि टीचर और बच्चे के बीच में जो मेन बॉन्डिंग होती है वो पेरेंट्स होती है। हमारे 3 जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, जो ऑलरेडी सुधा मैम ने बताया कि टीचर, पेरेंट एंड स्टूडेंट, ये तीनों का आपस में बॉन्डिंग होना बहुत जरूरी है। और ऐसे में उनके परिवार, बच्चों के परिवार, टीचर्स के सहायता के साथ साथ बच्चों का परिवार अगर उनके साथ रहे तो बहुत ही कमाल हो सकता है। ऑनलाइन लर्निंग की जो समस्या आ रही है, जो उनके हम हर दिन जो उनकी कमियों को ढूंढ रहे हैं, शायद वो कमियां थोड़ा कम हो, क्योंकि हम ये नहीं जानते हैं कि ये ऑनलाइन टीचिंग कब तक कराना है, हम नहीं जानते ये कोविड कब तक रहेगा। तो चूंकि ये एक हकीकत है कि आज ऑनलाइन क्लास एक सच्चाई है, तो इस सच्चाई को एक्सेप्ट करना ही अच्छी बात होगी मेरे ख्याल से। क्योंकि अगर हम ये सोचे कि इसमें बहुत सी कमियां हैं और इसकी कमियों को हम उजागर करें, इससे बेहतर है कि हम उन कमियों का निराकरण करें, उन कमियों को दूर हटाने का प्रयास करें। ऐसे में स्टूडेंट के पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स सभी मिलकर ये काम कर सकते हैं। नाउ ऑलरेडी मेरे को पैनलिस्ट ने बहुत सारी बातें कह दी हैं कि पेरेंट किस तरह से सहायक होते हैं, लाइक उन स्टूडेंट के इमोशनल चैलेंजेस में वो किस तरह से सहायक होते हैं, बच्चों के मेंटल स्ट्रेस के समय पेरेंट की क्या क्या भूमिका होती है। मगर फिर भी मैं कुछ और बिंदुओं को यहाँ पे स्पष्ट करना चाहती हूँ। बच्चों का जब शिक्षण कार्य हो तो कृपया पेरेंट को ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि वह शिक्षण कार्य आपकी मौजूदगी में हो, वो आपकी निगरानी में हो। क्योंकि कभी कभी क्या होता है कि बच्चों के सामने एक गैजेट है, एक बड़ा सा स्क्रीन है, वो जरूरी नहीं कि वो अपना फोकस पढ़ाई पे कर रहा है। तो ये निगरानी बहुत आवश्यक है। इसका मतलब ये नहीं है इन्वॉल्वमेंट का मतलब कि आप बच्चे के पीछे बैठे रहें। कहने का मतलब कि कभी कभी ये चीज, इन चीजों का ध्यान दे। इवन जब टीचर्स भी ये कहते हैं कि बच्चे ने ध्यान नहीं दिया, तो उनकी बातों को समझे कि बच्चा ध्यान क्यों नहीं दे रहा है। दूसरा पक्ष मैं ये रखती हूँ इसमें कि बच्चों को गृह कार्य यानी कि घर के कामों में एंगेज करें। घर के ये याद रखें कि हमारा जब फिजिकल स्कूल होता है तो हम ऐसे एक्टिविटीज कराते हैं बच्चों को जो उनके घर के कामों में ऑफ कोर्स उनको बहुत हेल्प करता है। तो क्यों नहीं एक अच्छा मौका है कि बच्चों को घर के कामों में एंगेज करें ताकि उनकी पर्सनालिटी डेवलप हो, वो प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज भी पा सके। बच्चों के साथ अक्सर आप बात करें, उनकी समस्याओं को समझे, उनकी प्रॉब्लम को देखें कि क्या समस्या है ना। कुछ बातें इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं कि बच्चों की एक्सरसाइज का ध्यान रखें, यानी कि बच्चों के हेल्थ अभी बहुत सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो जब वो कंप्यूटर के सामने बैठता है तो वो किस तरह से बैठता है, किस पोजीशन में बैठा हुआ है, कंप्यूटर से उसकी कितनी दूरी है, टेबल और चेयर की कितना हाइट है, इन सब चीजों का ध्यान रखें ताकि बच्चों के आंखों पर, बच्चों के पीठ में, बच्चों के कोई शारीरिक कष्ट ना हो, कोई शारीरिक परेशानी ना उन्हें झेलना पड़े। बच्चों के साथ इंगेजमेंट बहुत जरूरी है, इन्वॉल्व होना। बच्चों के साथ आप कंप्यूटर, कैरम बोर्ड, चेस, अंत्याक्षरी, कई ऐसे गेम्स हैं, कई ऐसे घरेलू खेल हैं जो हम उनके साथ खेल कर उनका मनोरंजन भी कर सकते हैं और उसमें कई चीजें सीख भी सकते हैं। तो अगर हम ये सब इन्वॉल्वमेंट अगर पेरेंट्स कंटिन्यू रखें तो मेरे ख्याल से बच्चों में भी वो जो एक स्ट्रेस आ रहा है, बच्चों में जो एक परेशानी आ रही है, और टीचर भी इस बात से परेशान है कि हम बच्चों तक वो चीज नहीं पहुंचा पा रहे जो हमें पहुंचाना चाहिए, शायद वो उसमें कमी आएगी। नाउ मैं ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी क्योंकि ऑलरेडी समय बहुत कम है। मैं अपने बातों का अंत 2 पंक्तियों के द्वारा करना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि मैं हिंदी अध्यापिका हूँ। तो मैं अंत करूंगी इस बात के साथ कि घर साथ तुम्हारा हो, आकाश हमारा होगा। ये पेरेंट्स के लिए है और हमारे परिवार के लिए भी है कि घर साथ तुम्हारा हो, आकाश हमारा होगा। हम मिलकर दूर करेंगे बाधा, हम मिलकर दूर करेंगे बाधा जब अपनों का सहारा हो। थैंक यू मैथ्यू सर।
थैंक यू मैम, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा सुन के, सारे पॉइंट्स आपने फटाफट बोल दिए और हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आपने कोऑपरेशन ऑफ पेरेंट्स, जो आपने कोऑपरेशन की बात करी है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि यही दिक्कत आती है एज अ टीचर। सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट यही है कि कोऑपरेशन मिले। अगर फैमिली से कोऑपरेशन मिलता है तो टीचर्स का जो काम है वो बहुत आसान हो जाता है। सो आई एम ग्लैड दैट यू ब्रॉट अबाउट दिस पॉइंट्स and I am sure there are a lot of parents who are listening to this. अगर नहीं है तो हम ये सर्कुलेट भी कर सकते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स में तो ये तो ताकि हमें उनको भी लगना चाहिए, बिकॉज टीचर्स जितने भी काम कर ले अगर पेरेंट्स से सपोर्ट नहीं है तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है। पेरेंट्स का सपोर्ट हो तो बहुत आसान हो जाता है। तो with this we come to the end of our first part of the session and now we move on to the second part of the session. I will invite Mohini Arora ma'am, and now what is important in today's times is if you look at just give me a minute, sorry. So if the child safety of the child is of prime importance, because when you go online there are so many issues, cyber security, frauds, you know, there are financial transactions which are happening, which are phishing links are given. So you know, although it's such a big blessing that we have got this internet and laptop and all these things, but at the same time there is an evil side to it. So we have the best person to explain all this, Mohini Arora ma'am, who is the HOD of computer science and in Air Force Golden Jubilee Institute, New Delhi. So I think she's the best person to help us explain all this about child safety and for our safety also. So so it's over to you, ma'am. Mohini ma'am, you can unmute yourself and ma'am, you are on mute. You can unmute yourself and thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir, and a very good afternoon to you all. First and foremost, a very thank you, Matthew sir, for giving me this opportunity and this platform to express my views and at the same time learn a lot from the expert panelists that are out here. So today I will be throwing some light on child safety. Now, child safety in today's times, like, we know that the children are at home. So if I talk about child safety, I will be broadly categorizing into, say, physical safety of the child, emotional and mental well-being and safety of the child, and of course, the very talked about online safety of the child. Now, online safety of the child, Preet Kamal ma'am, another panelist, she will be elaborating more on that. Today, I'll be talking more about the physical and emotional safety and well-being of the child. Before I actually, move on to these two categories, I would like to ensure one thing by parents mostly, and of course teachers also, that anything that you agree upon to be done by the child cannot be done by the child alone. You know, the expectations and the boundaries have to be set up by the family as a whole. Say, for example, a very common example that each one of us must be seeing now and then at home. You'd say your child, you're always on the phone, you're always on the TV, and you just say the child and pick up your phone and you are WhatsApping with your friends. Now, that does not solve the purpose. A child might feel, a child might say politely, a child might say loudly that you're also doing the same thing, right? So you as a parent or as a family member has to set up an example first before the child. So any schedule that you make, I'll be talking about these things, any schedule that you make for the child, be a part of that schedule, be a part of it as a family. That helps. That will ensure a successful, a success in your house for the child, for his physical and emotional safety. So having said this, about the physical safety, I would like to start first. In February, all of us teachers, all schools, certain students were called from class 11th and 12th. And most of us, I'm sure, most of us teachers here must have noticed that students have picked on weight, they have put on weight, they have become lethargic. Parents are also complaining about this, lazy ho gaya hai, sara din pada rehta hai, that way. So why? Because they are physically inactive. Why they are physically inactive? Because they have no routine. They get up late, they are taking classes on the bed, they are throughout with their mobile phones. So they have to be engaged in physical activities. Play with them. Even if it involves settling, unsettling of the house a bit, it's okay. It's okay. But play with them, let them play, let them involve in physical activities. Don't give him, just don't tell him, just go and play. Where should he go and play? What should he go and play? Just engage with him physically. You may play board, you may play board games. You may, if there is space in your house, you have balconies, you have terrace, yes, you can play quite a bit games, badminton, terrace, tennis, a bit of football. Even if you have less space, you can just dance around. I know a family, a friend of mine, who says that daily 1.5 hours we have a dancing session from 7:30 to 9, and then we go for our dinner. So entire family waits for that session, and it's not any formal dancing. Just let them just explore themselves, free themselves, vent out themselves, and release their energy. That is what is required for the physical well-being of the child. And if they are physically fit, then only they can concentrate, then only they can they'll enjoy academics. The whole time, if you give them, you just keep on saying them ki padta nahi hai, you're not studying, you're not doing this, it doesn't suffice the purpose. When the child used to go to school, they used to have their games period, they used to have their dance period. So their schedule was balanced. Now that entire onus of maintaining the balance has come onto your home. So the parents have to make sure that yes, they are balancing their acts at home as well. So I would agree on what Sarita ma'am just said before this, that parents have a great role to play in this. Yes, teachers can encourage them, guide them. Schools are setting up workshops to explain the importance of physical activity in their lives, but they are not in school. They are at home. So the I'll say the physical activities have to be ensured, enforced by the people who are at home. So this is about the physical activity aspect. And again, I'll say it will not be done just by the child alone. It will be done if entire family engages in all these things. They play together, they dance together, they just run around here and there together. It's okay. It's okay. Engage them in little bit household chores where they are maybe cleaning something or cleaning the fan or enjoying it and moving themselves so that they are physically active. So having said this about the physical activity, I would now move on to a more talked about topic about the emotional well-being or mental activity or mental safety of the child. Nowadays, children are seeing grief all around. They are listening to news. There's someone in their family, friends, relatives is sick, or God forbid that they're no more. So they see grief around them, and they need to vent out their grief. They need to talk about it. They can talk to their teachers. Yes, there are students who call up their teachers to talk. Ki ma'am, I'm upset. Yes, definitely their teachers play a great role. But as a parent, the parent has to be proactive in speaking on any topic to the child. Let first you initiate, you speak, talk to him, if something has happened, and then just let him speak. He needs to vent out. That venting out of stress, we all know that stress lowers immunity. It's a proven fact. So to vent out that stress, they need to speak out. So be open with children, talk to them. And yes, definitely engage them in some activities. We cannot escape digitization. I'll talk on that portion also. But first, definitely, I'll talk on the non-digital activities. Activities like reading. Why not? A survey has proven that language skills of all students have gone down. I think the language teachers in this panel, they will agree on it. It has been proven by a study that it may be English, Hindi, or the local language across the world. The language skills of the students has gone down. So why not utilize this time in inculcating, in improving the language skills and inculcating the reading habits, the writing habits in the child? Right? They can read journals, they can write journals, they can read books. But if you give them a book and tell the child, ye pad lo, read this, leave the mobile and read this. No, I'm sorry, it will not work. Especially for the children who are not interested in reading. See, everybody has a hobby. There are certain students who like reading. They will pick up a storybook, or even if you give them, they'll sit and they'll read, and then if you tell them, they will recite the story also to them. Fine. But there are certain children who are not interested in reading. So you can engage them in reading related activities, tell them to read aloud, listen to them. Slowly their interest will build up in small portions, small portions, and then gradually increase it, and then make them to write. Tell them to write at every night what happened throughout the day. When we were students, we used to call it journal writing. Now it has moved on to blogging and e-diaries and all those things. There are various tools available which promote this aspect of the child. I'll be talking about certain digital tools also in which the students can be engaged. Right? So this is about the reading and writing or language, improving the language ability of the child. Then we another activity where the student can be engaged is definitely art of any form. Art can be drawing, art can be origami, art can be dance, art can be music, art can be collage making. Any sort of activity can be engaged, can be useful for the child depending on his interest, right? And you can give a particular target to the child. Okay, why not today we'll sit and make this. This is something new that that has come up, that I've seen on my friends YouTube. So why not just try this? So he might see the video, understand it, and then close it, and then he can try and make it on his own, and the happiness that he gets is seen on his face. So that is how art can be used to engage a child positively. Then I was talking about that a family should as a group, as a family, talk to the child. Group discussions, involve them, talk to them, recite stories about Indian mythology, and invite them that yes, every era, every person has to go through challenges. No time is permanent. This time will also pass. Anybody who is brave will go through that time. So this will build up their emotional stability. They will understand that, okay, this time will pass. As teachers also, when students call up, when or in the class, I am sure each one of us must be hearing something, the child is upset for some reason whatsoever. So we talk to them. It's okay. Give them something so that it deviates their mind. Involve him actively in teaching activities so that he is getting himself absolved of that particular trauma that the child must be going on, the stress that the child must be going on. So if we talk to the child on these things, then definitely the emotional stress comes down. The child is able to concentrate more on his academics, and he is moving towards his own emotional and mental stability and safety. And as I said before, that we cannot escape digitization in today's era. We just cannot escape. So many panelists have already talked about it, that students know more than teachers technologically. Yes, it is correct. It is correct. They know more because they are growing with that particular gadget. They are growing with that technology, which we are now learning at this particular age. So as a parent, you need to know about various digital tools also to engage the child. Depending on his interest, there are various tools. There are tools like Prezi, like Edpuzzle, like for example Kaizala. So these tools, they and there are various online, I'll say, workshops which engage students in these tools and which help them to evolve them in digital manner. But it is very important that the parent is also part of that activity. The parent cannot be oblivious to the digital technology ki mujhe nahi aata, ya I'm not interested. No, and eye has to be kept on the child whenever he is online. Right? And we all are well aware of incidents of cyberbullying and other safety issues with the children. Ma'am will be talking about it. So the parent cannot just leave the child with the gadget, right? And apart from this, every parent must be aware of the various counseling services, the various help available around it if it is required. There's no harm to be proactive, absolutely. So they should be aware of what to do if something, God forbid, happens. And the school counselors definitely are there. The CBSE and other NGOs and other organizations are organizing workshops for children to help them, maintain a balance between their digital life that they are going through. And other than that, there are various online chat forums, online workshops being arranged by schools, by NGOs, by CBSE workshops. Please attend and be aware. You have to be aware of the digital technology to keep your children safe physically and emotionally, both ways. So I think with this, I can close on my points as per the
Thank you,
time
ma'am.
I was given.
Thank you so
it
much,
helped.
Mohini ma'am. You covered a lot of points regarding the safety of the child, so many aspects that you have brought in. And I'm sure that in the coming months, when the school reopens, when we are back to the same problems again, I think we'll be requiring more and more sessions. So I will be requesting you to conduct more such programs, because this is something which can go on. And there are so many aspects to it, and I'm sure you could elaborate on these in these upcoming workshops. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much,
And
sir,
I
for
will now
giving me the
invite.
platform. Thank you.
Most welcome, ma'am. It's our pleasure. And I will now invite Monica Agarwal, ma'am, to unmute herself. And she's from Don Bosco School, and she's a social science teacher. And she's going to speak about innovative teaching. Now, that is very, very important for us, because of when we regularly start teaching something for years, new teachers will have new ideas. But when we, over the period of time, every day, when we repeat certain things, then it becomes mundane, and children are no longer interested in. So innovative teaching is the need of the hour. Everyone should be learning new methods, whether it is on internet or online techniques, or even in the classroom. So I invite Monica ma'am to share her words of wisdom in how we can innovate in our classrooms.
Good afternoon to one and all. I would first of all like to thank all of you and AIEF especially for giving me this opportunity to be one of the panelists for overcoming challenges of online teaching during COVID times. Here it reminds me of William Wordsworth and William Shakespeare. When William Shakespeare had written, "Sweet are the uses of adversity," when he first said this in 1599, nobody could have thought that it would hold good even after half a millennium. But here we are today, living in the times of pandemic, migrating our work arena from physical classrooms to clouds. The year 2020-21 has been a year of innovation, and in not only teaching but also in learning for teachers as well as students. It has been a year of sleepless nights, discoveries, explorations, experimentations, and fiascos as we set sail for the world of virtual classrooms. As a 21st century educator, my job is to find ways to make my students learn better, even in the absence of face-to-face experiences. I'm sure that you will agree with me when I say that it was quite a Herculean task to adapt our teaching methodology for cyber schooling. We all rose to the challenge and went through a role reversal as learners to evolve and emerge as 21st century technologically literate teachers to ensure the quality of learning remains unaffected. We had our fair share of challenges initially. First and foremost, being connected and conducting the classes. We started our online classes on Zoom and then moved on to Microsoft Teams for better reach. Another major challenge that we faced was to manage virtual classroom behavior. and the shift in student learning. We realized that limited teacher presence was affecting the process of learning. So we wanted to construct more meaningful educational experiences. And when it came to making our students more involved and engaged to create deeper awareness and understanding of the abstract topics, we had to modify and adapt our approach to create lessons. Just to give you an example, as a geography teacher, I had to teach my students about manufacturing of iron and steel. It took a lot of reflective thinking to create content to address diverse needs and keep the entire class attentive. We adopted a four-pronged approach for teaching and assessment of the topic. Firstly, we defined all the steps or processes involved in the manufacturing of metals to create an end-to-end process flow. Next, we used a lot of visuals to create presentations on Google Slides with the intent to not only give them a closer to reality view of the process, but also use their lived experiences to develop a concrete understanding of the concepts. We used a lot of animations with triggers to make our presentations interesting and optimize the utility of this graphic interface. This was further supplemented with few curated videos on the topic from YouTube. We were mindful of the fact that videos cannot provide comprehensive learning of the topic, but can add substantially to our young learners' experience. After explaining the concept, and open-ended discussions were held in the class to clarify doubts. These interactive discussions not only helped us to make sure that they were paying attention, but also their output reflects whether they were able to learn something or not. So we also engaged the students through various activities and assignments. Additionally, we also conducted quiz on Kahoot to generate more interest. Besides the quiz, we also came up with the challenging crossword puzzles to put our young learners' neurons to work. Adding elements of fun to our teaching and assessment led to a tremendous learning experience, and students look forward to such activities in future. Similarly, the rotation and revolution of the earth, formation of day and night, change of seasons, wind and pressure belts, Coriolis force, and the generation of hydroelectricity, wind energy, etc., with the cascading of Google Slides, paved way and opened the doors of the imagination of our young learners as they were able to see, feel, experience, and relate to the natural phenomena to real life experiences. Last year, when school campuses were closed due to the pandemic, the education system worldwide took a big hit. One significant fact that people began to recognize was the essential role that schools play in the holistic development of a child. With the intent to prioritize the co-curricular activities to foster the holistic development, we as educators had to be more creative, positive, and enthusiastic about celebrations of important national festivals like the Independence Day, Gandhi Jayanti, and the Republic Day. So we began to focus on celebrations that could be organized virtually. For the Independence Day, we began our planning well in advance and chalked out the main events and activities. Here, we had to be very specific about assigning age-appropriate activities. We allotted several activities in creative and performing arts. After ironing out the final draft of the program, we set the wheels in motion. Also, we promptly set up a group of teachers and students to ensure that everyone had the help they needed. As it was a school-wide initiative, students from pre-primary to class 12 were involved, and was not an easy feat to orchestrate the entire event. This is something we are very proud of, and I would like to bring to view some of the technical aspects and tools that we used, as the role of technology in the current scenario cannot be overlooked. We used Collage Maker and Soloop Editor app to showcase the beautiful drawings, art and craft work done by our students. The speeches, the self-composed poems, patriotic songs, dances were all edited and compiled with the help of an app called Video Show KindMaster. We also incorporated historical clippings to showcase the vibrancy and glimpses of rich cultural heritage of India. This enabled the portrayal of our journey as a nation and the advancements that India has made over 7 decades. Just a strong academic program is not enough to support this shift to remote learning. It also brought the values of social, spiritual, and moral well-being to the forefront. To facilitate this, we organized the celebration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi ji. It gave us means to inculcate the values of truth, non-violence, tolerance embodied by him. We organized multi-faith prayers, bhajans, songs, speeches, and skits to reiterate these values. We sought use of various digital platforms and tools to support these endeavors. We used Square Quick, Lightroom, Photoshop Express to make it all possible. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts put in by the students to create the thumbnails using the Canva app. We were able to compile the whole program using Wondershare Filmora app to edit everything, as it is an easy video editor program. Such events bring people together to celebrate national festivals and motivate our young learners to stay active, engaged, and connected. The most important thing that I have realized is that we need to be friends with technology. To sum it up, as educators, we need to think out of box, be innovative, to build a bond of trust, which would create the perfect learning environment for our students. We can definitely say that desperate times call for extraordinary measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica ma'am. Very crisp and very informative and lots of examples. Thank you so much for your precious time and for sharing your ideas, what you did, your personal experiences that you had in school. That adds value to whatever you speak. Thank you so much once again. So I will now invite our next speaker, Seema ma'am. Seema ma'am, you can unmute yourself. You are there, yes. And she's a TGT Mathematics from India International School, which is in Mansarovar, Jaipur.
Yes, sir.
And we are happy to have her. Yes. So, and we are happy to have you here, ma'am. And you are going to guide our students and teachers, because now we are all working in tandem and schools are going to reopen. So we'll be glad to hear from you on the effective online tools. I'm sure you must have used so many tools. Actually, we get confused what to use because there are so many of them, and every weekend we find there is a course. So it will be good if you, with your experience, if you share some effective online tools based on your experience. Thank you. Seema ma'am, are you online?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Please go
Thank
ahead.
you very much. I'm online. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar, all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank All India Educator Forums and Matthew sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be part of this prestigious where we are discussing on the overcoming COVID times. As a teacher, we are facing many problems online teachings and online there are n number of tools are available, but we literally get confused that which tool we should use while teaching. So today I'm giving you some deep explanation of some of the tools which help us, my teacher friends, in their teaching classes and also help them to make their more interactive and joyful. Being as a mathematics teacher, these tools are benefited in mathematics as well as other subjects also. So let us start with the first tool which I want to tell you about is Google Chrome extensions Easy Chalk. This tool I am using from last 1 year in my online teaching, and trust me, it's benefited by the teacher and to the students, and even students also enjoy while studying from this. Here, this is our online tool which we are using. So let me tell you some of its applications, how we can use it. The first is toolbar, protector, scale, and all other mathematical instruments which helps a teacher to give the students about the knowledge of chapter construction and their concept. Then we have a tool of graphs also, with the help of which a teacher can teach all the topics of statistics or coordinate geometry to any level of the class. It can be to the primary students or secondary. Next, colorful shapes like moons, etc., which we can use in our primary classes to appreciate and motivate our students so that they also feel motivated by giving this. We do in offline classes. Students, we generally give the star moons from their hands so that the students also feel happy. The same way we can use here for this also. Another, there is an option of on status bar is the geometrical shapes, like we have circles, triangles, rectangles, which we can use while teaching our geometrical chapters like circles, triangles, quadrilaterals, and color also. So it becomes creative. There is an option of pencil colors, and the pencil size and colors are also available on different colors. According to our requirement, we can use them. Then there is an option of floating toolbar, and on that toolbar we have all these different shapes and pencils colors which we can adjust anywhere on the screen, with the help of which we can adjust anywhere while we are teaching. On the status bar only, there is an option of grids, and these grids are also available. It can be or it can be bigger in our teaching, so we can use them for teaching of the statistics and the coordinate geometry. And one more amazing option is available here is images, which we can use for playing the jigsaw puzzle with this lower grade students to play with. So that's it for this application. One more application I want to tell you here is application which is OneNote. Generally, we use for the Microsoft is Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel we use in our teaching. Please note the OneNote. It's a latest technological applications, and say this is a teaching friendly also, because here all the applications, whatever we are using in Word and Excel, are available under one single roof. So today I'm giving you some brief deep of this application also. So in this, we can use, basically this is helpful when we are teaching secondary and senior secondary classes, where we have a long theorems and questions we need to explain to our students and their difficult mathematical notations. So this, in that case, this application is helpful. Starting from the very basic page, the home page, it consists of the navigation option where you create your own notebook of different classes. If you are teaching more than 2 or 3 classes, and in that you are teaching different subjects also. Sometimes in our classes, being as a mathematics teacher, we are teaching science classes also. So that also we can bifurcate here, and this can be further subdivided into chapters and topics also. So whatever we want, we can adjust according to our requirement. The first option in the toolbar, we have home. Here, Microsoft Word and Excel is available, like we generally use. Outline, highlights, bullets, alignment, everything is available in one single under roof. So easily used by any of the teacher. The new options here is an insert option, where you can insert tables, files, pictures, online videos, and audios also. Suppose during our class, any online video to our students. So in that case, we do not need to switch on this single video or single window only. We can show the online videos to our students, and while doing our record also, and later on share that with our students, which helps our students in this difficult times when they are not able to attend their classes during any of the reasons. We have option of mathematical symbols which can be easily picked by teachers while we are teaching in the class. There is an option of stickers, like stickers where creative stickers we can give to motivate our students so that they feel motivated whatever we are teaching. There is a new option available on this OneNote, that is inserting the complete PDF. Like if today I'm teaching any chapter, tomorrow I want to teach any chapter. So, and this, as due to the COVID times, as my experience, able to purchase books or the bookstores are not available. And what we can do is we can download the complete chapter, and then we can insert the complete chapter here on this platform, and from that PDF only we can teach our students. In that case, we can solve the problems of non-availability of books for the students, because nowadays, being as a teacher, ma'am, due to lockdown we are not able to purchase books are not available. So in that case, this application is very useful. And suppose if we are teaching in the PDF and we want to write something on that, then we can write on this same PDF. And if suppose any child want to draw any figure, anything along with the PDF, then on the right hand there is a blank space also available, where you can write all the calculation part or theoretical part, whichever you want to explain to your students. And once the class gets over, then you can share this complete matter PDF along with your notes with your student with the one single click. So I'm also using this, and I have tried also. The students really love this, because they come out with the problems of non-availability of work. This is, being as a teacher, is very helpful. Then we have an option of also where you can already are available, and you want to highlight and ink to page. One more amazing is ink to page. when we are writing anything on the screens, many times it happens we are not able to draw a perfect figure. But with this ink to page, if we draw any rough figure, then it automatically creates a new and a fair image of that figure. Also very helpful while we are there is creating complex mathematical notation equations also, which we can move anywhere we want.
Seema ma'am, your voice is continuously breaking. And I think you have communicated a lot of things we have understood. But since the voice is breaking, there is little bit of clarity is missing. So there are a lot of questions on the chat. I would request you to go to the chat because there are lots of comments there. They're asking you to type the name of the apps that you described, because all the apps, although you told, it was not very clear. So you can go to that YouTube link and probably answer those questions. And so we are very grateful that you could share so many. I think due to some network issues, the voice was lagging a little bit and the video was also lagging, but no problem, ma'am. You took out time and you made this effort to put in this. We are very grateful to you. And I will just request you to, whatever apps that you have told, if you could kindly post in the YouTube chat, because many of the people are asking. So it will be good if you could type in those in the chat. Okay, ma'am. Seema ma'am. Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. And hope to see you in a separate session where you could, because I know that there is so much to share, but we have already crossed 2 hours. I think we can apply for the Guinness World Record or something like that today, because I don't know how long this is going to last. And probably we can get recognized for that also, the longest webinar, probably in Delhi at least. So great, I think, and that's a good sign. That means that there is so much energy, there is so much of resources available with us that we want to share more and more. So that's great. I mean, we should try for this world record or something where each person sits, speaks for 1 hour, and let's try something like a 24-hour or a 30-hour, and people come on that time and speak. Probably we can think on those lines. So thank you so much, and and thank you for sharing all those great points and great tools. So I will now invite Mansi Datta ma'am, who's also from Don Bosco School and also a social science teacher. And she's teaching on, she'll be taking this session on a creative mindset. That is so important, because after a period of time, your mind becomes rusted. We tell our students, use your minds, use your minds. But the same thing happens with teachers. After a certain point of time, you don't want to use it. Some of them don't want to use it. And some of you, like, who have come forward, they want to use and they want to share. So I'm glad that so many of you came. This is the first time that we are having 13 speakers in a panel. Normally we keep it 8, 9, less than 10. But this time the enthusiasm was so much that you wanted to come and speak. So I'm grateful to all of you. And I'm going to invite Mansi ma'am to speak on creative mindset. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I extend my warm greetings to my co-panelists and sincere gratitude to Matthew, sir, and AIEF for giving me this platform to express my views on how to overcome challenges of online teaching during COVID times. COVID-19 crisis has affected societies and economies around the globe and will permanently reshape our world as it continues to unfold. Isolation, contact restriction, and economic shutdown has imposed a complete change to the psychosocial environment in affected countries. And these measures are a potential threat to the mental health of children and adolescents significantly. It has clustered different sectors and overthrown people around the world to a new social and economic crisis, and education is one of them. But in a bid to ensure that learning never gets disrupted for the learners, digital classroom has emerged as the most significant option before the academic stakeholders. Now, digital medium cannot replicate the interpersonal interactions that school facilitates by bringing children from different backgrounds and cultures, which not only broadens learners' perspective, but also develop their social skills, essential for holistic growth and development, which is intensely affected at this situation. But we educators, we took it as a unique opportunity to explore and learn new skills and impart best. This is creative mindset. What is mindset? Mindset is a way of thinking. And believe me, it is more powerful than skill set. Mindset is more powerful than skill set. Innovative mindset means to create new and better ideas, developing our own abilities, intelligence, and talents. And we are doing that. Question is how to do it, how to create innovation mindset. Though we are doing it, but we have to continue. It is by embracing creativity, being open to change, show courage, take risk, think big, and act fast. Initially, just getting through the day was a major achievement. And today went better than yesterday is what we all felt at the end of the day after classes, but carried on. We faced several challenges. We faced many common challenges. Adapting technology was not easy. It took time. Figuring out online etiquette and maintaining discipline was challenging. Current curriculum and course, was it designed to be delivered on video? But we did. Students' engagement in class is affected. Attendance decreased after transition to remote learning. Parents hovering around class was an issue. Glitches in connectivity was a major distraction for both teacher and students. Unequal access of gadgets. Inadequate skill and knowledge of technology. Lack of transparency in assessment. And lack of social emotional attachment. We all faced all these common problems, common challenges. But with growth mindset, adopted new creative measures to improvise the teaching in the digital classroom. I'll take few examples. We had an easy going shift from offline to online classes, using the internet and various apps to develop digital skills. Many of us recorded video lectures and uploaded e-contents in the form of PPTs, Word document, PDF files, etc. Even the video lectures were presented using a video-enabled synchronous and asynchronous streaming so that if students miss their class due to any reason, it may be for connectivity or any reason, they can still access it. Also, in the remote area, rural areas, our teachers effectively used WhatsApp and phone to share their learning materials and study links with the students. This is creativity. This is creative mindset. We did not panic. We did not fail. We did not stop that the schools are closed. The situation is out of control. But we quickly switched on to a new system. Good teaching always requires teachers' full engagement in students' learning through explanations, illustrations, question-answer session, group discussion. But to make teaching more interesting to our students, we introduced creative ways like poll during class, Kahoot, Mentimeter, quizzes, puzzle, and we tried to engage them in the virtual class. We also blended our lectures with thought-evoking incentives and humor. This is innovation in teaching and learning. Now, attendance was a problem. Now, there were many reasons for attendance, but for we teachers, video attendance or calling out name was the only way to take attendance. But for that also, a digital device and good internet connectivity was important. Why don't we think of something different? Why don't we send them attendance cum feedback form after every class, asking 2 to 3 questions based on the relevant topic taught on the same day? By this, we will not only get their attendance, but also their attention in class to answer those questions, and also our learning outcome. We'll get to know how many understood the lesson taught on that day. Though there are various other apps also for attendance, and there are inbuilt option also in many softwares, but still attendance cum feedback form is not a bad idea. Then last year, in the month of March, lockdown was declared. April, we started our session. Our students didn't have the textbook. So virtual teaching again put a new demand on teachers to provide enriched human and non-human resources and relevant animated and unanimated study materials. Now a teacher no longer acted as an instructor, but as a content developer and designer of online curriculum, preparing digital contents, including PPTs with simple language, simple text, facts, designs, pictures, graphic themes, gaming features, and various templates. Was it easy? It was not a simple task. Many teachers found it difficult to make PPTs, or computer-based preparation of PPTs was difficult. But here also, we didn't stop. We, with our growth mindset, with our creative mindset, we went on to the several online content providers, which are easily accessible, and after filtering the age-appropriate content, we can share it to the students. Like, for example, NCERT YouTube channels are there, Diksha portal, Swayam Prabha. These are not only the platforms which facilitates the e-content, but also give easy access to respond quickly to, so that we can easily access them and respond quickly to the students' requirements. And there are various other non-governmental e-learning apps also, like Vedantu, Khan Academy, Udemy are there. So at least we didn't stop ourselves. This is creativity. This is innovation mindset, which we all teachers have, and we have proved it. So now another common challenge that we faced was online assessment. We were not very satisfied. So it's just that, like, it's not in the supervision of teachers, so we were not satisfied. But then here what we have to do is, we just have to change the strategy. To avoid uncertainty and unethical practices, we just need to change the way we assess students. Instead of giving MCQ and short answer type questions, we can focus more on theme and theory-based questions, where the learner has no option but to express her experience-based creative thought and critical thinking to answer those questions. Here, the student is bound to apply what he has learned or what he knows, and for that he has to study. So we just have to change our strategy and have to be innovative. Again, to develop their social emotional aspects, group-based activities or group-based tasks and collaborative learning is very important. Though due to intrinsic limitations, we could not reach up to that. We could not do that also. We couldn't conduct group activities. But it's possible, let me tell you. It is possible through innovation, through little bit exploration. Microsoft SharePoint, Google Forms are few apps, or we can say are few inbuilt apps are there, or facilities which the softwares provide, through which we can conduct group activities and collaborative learning. Now this will develop their social emotional skill. They will be in contact to each other. They will talk to each other. They will discuss. They will solve problems. And this will be very helpful for learners' progressive development. This is again innovation. So we must try Microsoft SharePoint, Google Forms, where just a link has to be shared and all can contribute and do a collaborative work. Also, parents, of course, we need spontaneous collaboration and hands-on support with parents to regulate online classes for students. WHO says teachers should help in better parenting the learners to stay positive, to create a daily routine, avoid health risk behaviors, and manage stress in the time of isolation crisis. To develop social emotional attachment, we teachers, we need to share our personal learning experiences with them. We should boost them to share their learning experiences, and we should provide quick learning feedback to them. Our responsive behavior and accountability towards learners will be helpful to improvise the teacher-taught relationship in the virtual classroom. COVID-19 pandemic has brought a far-reaching change in the way teachers teach. With creative mindset, we must, or we have already adapted, but we still have to employ all kinds of possible technopedagogies and available resources to ensure effective learning in online classes and to develop the social emotional relationship between the teacher and the student. Life isn't always going to be sunshine, and sometimes it can pour really hard and leave us feel hopeless at the end of the day. Sometimes we will fall, and we know that there is no backup to help us. But it doesn't matter. We have to strive with positive mind, with our ability, knowledge, and skill. We have to keep on innovate, explore, learn better things, and try to overcome challenge. Because every challenge is a blessing in disguise. And with innovative and creative mindset, we can come back out stronger than ever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mansi ma'am. Shared a lot of things, and they've brought in a lot of clarity, a lot of examples, and really a very creative way of presentation in which you shared so many examples, which probably you must have used with your students as well. So thank you. And as I said, we are looking forward to more sessions from all the panel members, and I hope you will prepare this because the response has been pretty good. You can watch the whole program. You will be able to see that, because right now we are not able to see the whole thing. But when you replay this, you will find that it's been a great experience so far. And there are people who have been consistently with us from 11:30. That's what is important. See, when there is a movie, going on, if it is very boring, people start leaving. But I'm very happy that we have a consistent group of people who have stuck on with this from 11:30 onwards. So you will see that when you see the YouTube channel, consistently posting comments, encouraging. So great, ma'am. Thank you, Mansi ma'am. And now we go to Preet Kamal ma'am. Preet Kamal ma'am is going to speak to us on cybersecurity. Again, a very, very important issue. And she is a TGT Maths from JBM Global School, Noida. So I invite Preet Kamal ma'am to speak on the topic cybersecurity and how its impact, basically. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to thank Mr. Matthews and AIEF for giving me this opportunity to share my views on these challenges in online education. So as Mohini ma'am has given us a valuable information regarding the physical and emotional security of children, I will be throwing some light on another important aspect, which is cyber security. Now, COVID-19 has brought online learning in full fervor, and with it comes a lot of challenges. Millions of children are at the increased risk of harm as their lives are moving increasingly online. School closures, strict containment measures mean more and more families are relying on technology and digital solutions to keep children learning, entertained, and connected to this outside world. But not all children have the necessary knowledge, skills, and resources to keep themselves safe online. Now, as educators and parents, we start educating our children from the very early years about not talking to strangers, know about the road safety rules, good touch, bad touch. We all do this so that we protect them from any harm in the physical world. But are we protecting our children in the same way as we did in physical world? Are we educating them about what are the threats they can have in the cyber world? What rules they should follow while using the internet? What are their limitations or the boundaries? Sadly, the answer is no. Now, every family member is very busy, very occupied, and they're taken one corner of their house, busy doing their online jobs, doing their house chores, kids busy playing online games, talking to strangers online, unaware of the dangers they might be. So leaving your children alone in this virtual world is same as leaving your child in the middle of very busy road full of threats and challenges. Now let's discuss some of the threats in this cyber world. Now the first and the foremost among the cyber threats is cyberbullying. Now, cyberbullying is a use of digital communication to harass, threaten, or embarrass some other person by using mean, aggressive, rude text, post, messages, or sharing the rumors, or sharing the photographs or secrets online. Now, social media and online games are today's virtual playground for the students, and this is where the cyberbullying is taking place. Now, some of the examples where the cyberbullying takes place is first and the foremost is the harassment. Now, the cyber harassment encompasses a range of threatening behavior. So it includes sending insulting messages or the photographs, and they try to group together collectively and then bully someone. So another type of major cyberbullying is trolling. Now, trolling is involved in the dang the bait. They include messages full of lies. They make jokes and goad someone into an emotional reaction. Another most important one is outing or doxing. Now, when someone uses another person's personal information without their consent, like for example, cyberbully might share a private text or an email with the outside world in order to embarrass or humiliate someone. Another is that breaking into someone's social media accounts and try to impersonate them. Now, the bully will often try to humiliate the person or ruin their reputation. So, by posting inappropriate, derogatory, or inflammatory comments. So, when the cyberbully is spreading rumors or post or humiliating photos, videos, or screenshot, now that is another type of cyberbullying which is known as hissing. So, there are a number of cyberbullying, that types of cyberbullying which take place online. And the impact of these cyberbullying on innocent children are so damaging. The stress of being in constant state of upset, fear can lead to problems with mood, energy levels, their appetite, health, which may lead to emotional harassment and social exclusion. Now, some of the signs that you should, as a parent or as an educator, you should always look for in the children is they feel quite uneasy, nervous, scared, uncomfortable in the school environment. Children becomes characteristically withdrawn. They start displaying anxious behavior while using the devices. They are unwilling to talk to anyone, share any kind of information. There is a loss of interest in their hobbies or their favorite activities. So, in this case, always try to offer your child comfort and support. Try to have casual and open ended conversation explaining about the threats and how to be safe online. Encourage your child now not to be scared of cyberbullies. Instead, they should stand up against them. School must organize some sessions of awareness and steps to stop cyberbullying among children. Now, the second major cyber threat that students can face is from cyber predators. Now, cyber predators are the people who use internet to exploit usually younger people with the intention of inflicting sexual, emotional, psychological, or financial abuse. The cyber predators often stalk children on internet, gaming platforms, social media, chat rooms, taking advantage of their innocence and abusing their trust. Now they try to pretend to be the age group of the children, or they lie about their details, they hide their identity in order to gain trust of the victims. So they may try to lure the kids into inappropriate conversation by sending obscene material or request them to share their photos as well. So making such kind of conversation, now the children get trapped. Now they start exploiting them. So the safety risk is not only mental and emotional abuse they tend to inflict on the victim. There may be the chances that they may try to meet the victims in person, and that can lead to blackmailing or financial extortion also. So offer you always try to be aware what your child is doing online. Are they switching screens in between when you come enter the room? Always try to put some parental controls on the devices so that you can keep a check on your children, so what they're going through on the devices. So guides your children to not to give any kind of personal information to the strangers online. Never post photographs or any kind of information that may reveal their address, phone number, shared passwords, and always also educate them that if someone is flattering them online, they should be very vigilant about that, and they should not talk to anyone who wants to be too personal with them. Never arrange meeting with anyone they met online, and always tell a parent or a trusted adult so if they encounter any kind of problem. So this kind of basic education should be a part of our education system as well, whereas everything has been transformed online only. Now, internet is giving young people, all of us, amazing opportunities to connect and learn. But with that, we are also getting exposed to the inappropriate content, which is not suitable if according to the age and the developmental stage also. So inappropriate content is one of the another threat that kids encounter and which were quite harmful to them. It has a lasting impression on the child and that may affect them psychologically and mentally. Now, the constant exposure to such inappropriate content quite can be have a very long-lasting effect on the students. Now, inappropriate content may include the sites that encourage the crime, terrorism, pornography, racism, use of drugs, alcohol, or they may include pictures, videos, games which show violence or cruelty towards another humans or animals. They may include unmoderated chat rooms where no one is supervising the conversation and barring the unsuitable comments. So inappropriate, sometimes you can see inappropriate the ads popping up while playing the online games. So on clicking on those ads, that can lead students to some malicious sites also. Then they will be exposed to the inappropriate content again. So as a parent, again, you have to be quite aware what your the child is doing online with devices. You should not be snobbing into their accounts, or you should not be nothing like a full detective trying to find out what my child is doing online. But be little aware your child is. Look into their behavior. Look into them. See what are they trying to do online? Are they switching between the screens? Are they hiding something? So you can easily figure them out. So try to have a good conversation with them. Next comes the case of phishing. Now we all as adults also we have come across emails which appear to come from the legitimate source. So the emails now they may have a difference of only one alphabet only. Suppose my email is abcinternational.com. So I may receive an email in which the spellings are ABC, I missing NTER, so followed with the national.com. So you cannot figure out now that is if it is the legitimate email or not. So selecting on these emails, now you are moved to some kind of hyperlinks or surveys or the feedback forms. So on selecting, you get a message popped up. You won an iPhone. You won a trip to US. Now, out of excitement, we start filling out the details. They ask for to enter your username, password. We put on that. They may ask for to have to give like 100 rupee for this, and we fill in the bank details also. So we are being victimized there for the cyber threat known as phishing. Now, if we can fall for these kind of mails as adults, so why not children? So such phishing mails, they're quite difficult for children to identify. And children are the soft targets that are because they are easy to lure. Now, cyber criminals, they give lucrative offers or eye-catching statements to attract children on the sites which are quite popular among them. So children fall for it and they are taken to malicious site where they are asked to fill their details. Now they are targeting on children online to hack into their accounts because they found that kids can be the gateway to their parents' personal information. So they are constantly looking for the ways to expose their names, address, numbers, credit card numbers, and they abuse us financially. Now the question comes, how can we protect our children? Now, how to protect our children from these cyber threats? So there are many more. Because of the time constraint, I'm switching on to the protections. So always, always, always have an open conversation with your child. As an educator also, there should be sessions in the school giving awareness about there being how to be safe online. Now, not to be a part of cyberbullying, as well as how to protect yourself from cyberbullying. Such kind of sessions are to be there, so that we do not promote any kind of cyberbullying. Then use of parental control on devices in order to restrict inappropriate content is a must. Like there are a number of parental controls, like you can use Microsoft Family Sharing, you can use Norton Family. There are a lot of Google Family Sharing, so in which you can control the timings for which your child can have access to the internet. So if they're allowed 1 hour time for their online gaming or something, so you can put a time control on them. So then next is spend time online together to teach your child what kind of behavior is appropriate for online use. They should keep a look. We should all keep a look on our children spending excessive time on internet or having multiple emails or multiple screen names. So check if your child is switching between the screens as you enter the room, and or he or she has withdrawn from the normal activities. Is there any kind of behavioral change in them? Guide them not to give any kind of personal information to anyone online, not to talk to anyone, as we say, not to talk to strangers in the physical world. Same way, don't give awareness. They don't have to talk anyone on the cyber world also. They don't have to share their address, their phone numbers, their passwords. And if anyone is trying to exploit them or flattering them, please, they have to contact some adult they trust. They can talk to their parents also, their teachers also, so they can help them out. Now, taking an active role in your kids' online activities will always help you ensure that they benefit from their virtual platform without being exposed to the potential dangers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preet Kamal ma'am. A very, very elaborate session on cybersecurity. So many aspects that you brought in about phishing, about sharing of personal information, and it was very, very informative. Thank you so much for taking your time. And our last speaker, our best speaker, we have saved the best for the last. So, Vimal Maria ma'am, Titus ma'am, welcome to this panel. And what is important today is that there are lots and lots of resource people for higher classes, but we are not having any resource persons for the primary. I'm glad that you have taken up this initiative because as per the survey, only 0.01% of the total resource persons are from primary. So there is a lot of scope, and there is a lot of, and that is the base. What is important is the seed that you put in the mud, and that grows up. So ultimately, we are getting in the higher classes, it becomes very difficult for behavioral changes or other changes. And primary is such a crucial aspect, and that is what we have been neglecting. So we are glad that you have got associated with us, and with your experience, I'm sure that more and more primary teachers are going to take this initiative of sharing their experiences and guiding others. So Vimal Maria ma'am is also from Don Bosco School, and she is basically a maths teacher, and we are so far it has been very good, and I'm sure we're going to end on a very beautiful note. And she's going to speak about the topic which we feel very difficult. Actually, you go to a primary class and you go mad. You don't know how to control those kids. Okay, the older kids are slightly easier to manage, and you go to class 1 or 2 and it's like maddening. And similarly, so each class has got its challenges. So she's going to discuss with us and share with her insights on the challenges of teaching primary kids. So over to you, Vimal ma'am.
Good afternoon to all, and my sincere thanks to AIEF and Matthew sir for providing me with this opportunity to express my views on overcoming challenges of online teaching during COVID times, with particular reference to the primary school. As we are all aware, online teaching is evolving as the most suitable means for teaching and learning right now in the prevailing scenario of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are many challenges that primary school children often face when they are learning through the online mode. I'll be sharing my experiences about a few of these challenges and possible ways of overcoming them. The first and foremost challenge that I've experienced during the last 1 year of online teaching is the lack of computer knowledge and connectivity issues that students face. Some of them do not have sufficient computer knowledge, and some are not provided with the high bandwidth or the strong internet connection that online courses require. Parents may also not be equipped to help the students, to help their children. So possible solutions to overcome these challenges could be: have a technical team in place to help such students and their parents to sort out these issues. Computer or mobile phones should be upgraded with apps and software that can help in an effective learning process along with a high-speed internet connection. So they have to be made aware of these possibilities, and they have to be guided towards the end result. Teachers also need to train themselves on various aspects of the online learning platforms that they are using, so that some of the problems at the students' end can be understood and sorted out by the teachers themselves. This is one thing that I have found very useful. As you learn about the various aspects, various facets of these platforms, you are also becoming equipped to help your students. So there was this case where I had to call up a student continuously and help him try to log into the school educational platform. He was unable to do so because it was lockdown period and his parents were not educated enough to help him out. So it required a lot of follow-up and guidance from my side. So teachers have a role to play in this regard. Finally, vulnerable families should be supported so that they have the means to acquire computers or mobile phones and the skills to be able to support their children learn online. So we as a community also have to come together to support the students. Another challenge that students face are disturbances in the online classes caused by distractions at home. Learning from home is an amazing experience. You are with your family. Home is the most comfortable place to be in, right? Yes, but many of our students are faced with countless distractions while learning from home. For instance, the television might be on, or a younger sibling may come in and disturb the student. The doorbell rings. We have cases of instructions being shouted out by parents in between classes, or parents scolding their children. So therefore, at the outset, it becomes very important to define and communicate online classroom behavior rules to students and parents. You have to give your students all the instructions required so that the online class runs smoothly and is fruitful. A few such rules could be: sit in a proper formal setup, log into the class 5 minutes before the actual class starts. Parents should refrain from giving instructions to their children while class is going on. Refrain from feeding their children during classes, but monitor every interaction for security reasons. Students should be properly dressed and should not move around whilst the class goes on. Keep your mics on mute and videos on during class time. Answer only when the teacher calls out your name. And if there is a problem, request an appointment with the teacher for an online discussion after class is over. If a student is negatively participating, you can easily mute him or remove him from the lesson and then follow up afterwards with personal telephonic chats with that student and his parents, communicate the adverse consequences of his action, and encourage him to be a more responsible student. Moving forward to the next challenge, which I have experienced, is the lack of motivation in some students. It can be due to various reasons. It may be that they are unable to adapt to the online environment. They are so used to the conventional classrooms, so they are unable to adapt to this environment at first go. So such students who have lower intrinsic motivation and drive, they may fall behind or get confused. To ensure that the students are motivated enough to attend the classes, a teacher needs to build a rapport with each of the students. So we can use the following strategies. Have personal introductions in the classroom. Get to know your student. Follow up personal calls with students and their parents. When the students see that the instructor is reaching out to them on a personal basis, it helps establish a rapport and puts the student at ease. So we had this case of a student who was not answering at all in the classes. And the dilemma that the student was facing is that he was not comfortable with me or with the new teachers that he was facing. So I had to eventually call up the child at home in the evenings when his parents were there, and we had these video chats. And finally, right now, the student is responding in the class. He is actively learning. Though he's a slow learner, he's trying to come up to the level of the class. So we can see that talking to the students who are shy and introverted helps the students open up and brings forth better participation in the virtual classroom. Teachers should respond in a timely manner to the students' postings and assignments. And we need to be clear in communicating grading criteria, policy on late submissions regarding assignments, and give assignment feedback that is positive and helps the students improve. Above all, teachers should always be enthusiastic, friendly, and motivated. You have to be in a positive mindset always. You have to be open to approach the problems of the students in a positive way at any time of the day. Of course, you can set your time limits beyond a certain time. They should not call, but definitely you have to be always available for the student as it is an online learning platform. Challenge that I faced in a major way is that many of the students do not participate or answer even when called upon to do so. So keeping the students engaged in the online learning classroom becomes very important. So they're not participating or answering in these online classes because maybe they are finding the classes boring. And as such, as these classes progress, they will tend to feel more isolated. They will be cut off from this virtual learning environment, with the end result that they stop attending the classes altogether. So before going to that particular stage in a student's life, before he reaches that part of the stage where he stops attending the classes altogether, we have to be very alert to the students when they are not responding to the questions. You have to have a set of strategies ready so that you are able to catch that student and keep him interested in the class. We also have cases of students who are getting bored. They are actively messaging or chatting with each other, or they are playing online games when the class is going on. This is happening in the higher primary, that is classes 4-5, when the class is going on and they're not interested in the online classes. So the only solution is that learning should be mixed with a little fun for kids to pay proper attention. Getting bombarded with concepts, ideas, theories, it often robs kids of their interest in a particular subject. So use different techniques, as my fellow panelists, co-panelists have already mentioned. We have to make the children, we have to have a creative mindset. We have to explore different methods and use different techniques and methods for teaching, engagement, and assessment of students in the online environment. One of the strategies that we need to adopt is that we should not teach too much. At a primary level, too much content being taught can lead to lower levels of understanding. So adapt the course content to meet the online class learning requirements. Make your lessons interactive and engaging, using multimedia in your slides. Use YouTube videos, photos, other such digital content to enhance learning. We can also have online interactive games to reinforce concepts taught earlier. I found this very useful in maths myself. So we had these online interactive educational sites where there were games, and I used to put them, switch it on during the class time and ask the children to play, and they were very, very helpful in reinforcing concepts. So audio or visual oriented learning engages and motivates students and allows them to retain more information. This goes without saying. It requires all our emphasis in these online classes. Provide students with exercises or assignments where they can apply what they read in the content slide. So not just text, but give them enough practice. This is very important for mathematics. Interesting hands-on learning activities based on the topics covered can also help reinforce the concepts taught in class. For example, in science, you want to teach how plant products are useful for human beings. Ask students to bring things available at home and which are ultimately obtained from plants. Get the students to bring pencils, eraser, seeds, tea leaves, sugar in a bowl, etc. And they can actually show these objects, they can show these plant products and speak about it, and in this way they improve their communication skills as well. Prepare knowledge checks. Online quizzes can be used to assess student understanding of the concepts taught and also break the monotony of online learning. So you can work out the online quizzes using platforms like Quizzes, Kahoot, Mentimeter, or have a simple end of topic quiz uploaded on your educational platform that you're using, MS Teams, Google Forms. So in this way, the students are able to retain the concepts taught and also clarify their understanding. Online co-curricular activities can be organized to interest students and help them develop confidence. So we had these virtual Independence Day programs organized. We had singing competitions organized. All these help the students achieve a level of interest in their daily classes and also help them build up their confidence. We had an online inter-school Bible quiz competition, a Don Bosco quiz competition. So all these kept the students engaged in the learning process. A recently tried out technique is the online morning assembly. It can be organized where the students can be given a meaningful topic. They can prepare and speak on the topic for a minute or two. So the teacher can make a video recording of these speeches and share with the students. This is an interesting technique which helps the primary students to speak and communicate better and definitely improve their confidence and their level of motivation for attending the classes. A word for those students who are unable to catch up due to their learning difficulties. Support classes are being organized. We are organizing support classes for these students with learning difficulties, and the timing of these classes can be adjusted. You have to be flexible. It can be held in the evening when the parents are also available for the students, for meeting the students' need. Fifth challenge that I have faced is that the lack of interactions with peers and teachers during class time is demotivating some students. See, interaction among students and with teachers, it is very important element of a successful education. So when the fellow students are not there to discuss a specific topic, you are missing that camaraderie that students share in the conventional classroom, or the bonding between the teacher and the student. It's not happening. This can make any particular student, not all, maybe some, disinterested or frustrated. So we have to add in discussions to increase engagement and comprehension. So there are various ways of initiating discussion. Teachers can moderate a class discussion on a particular topic within a given time limit. Students can participate and share their ideas. We can ask the students to join 5 to 10 minutes early, and we can share the current affairs of the day, or the teacher invites them to speak on a particular theme. This keeps the students motivated. Another method of initiating discussions is by asking interactive questions while a particular topic is being taught. So using such questions, new concepts are introduced. It also helps reinforce a student's understanding of topics, and their learning is assessed, and it improves their class participation and their communication skills. Then we have this I have not yet tried, but it is definitely something very good. It is problem-based learning. So you divide the students into small groups, give them a problem to solve, invite them for a meeting on Teams or any platform that you're using, and make them collaborate to solve the problem. So the teacher has to be present to moderate the discussion. So this helps them discuss, builds upon their creativity and critical thinking skills. This is one very important collaborative learning strategy that we can use. It can be used for the lower primary, the students of class 1 and 2, but the teacher has to be present, and suitable learning activities have to be worked out at their age and at their level to facilitate this process. So to conclude, I would like to say that although we are in the midst of challenging situations, We must not allow the situations to compromise the quality of learning for our students. Let us move forward with a positive mindset and continue to kindle in our students a thirst for learning by providing them with quality online education. I think we should all follow this maxim. Learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Vimal ma'am, it was really very enlightening. From the basics, it was a well-structured discussion, I would say, and so many points to be taken back. And I'm sure you also are going to be a great resource especially for our primary teacher group, which we are creating in the Global Teachers Forum. And all these ideas which you have experienced yourself, and along with the other resource persons, so much of brainstorming can be done. And if we tackle issues at that level, I'm sure as they grow up, we just have to fine tune it. So our job becomes much more easy. And initially when they're coming to school, it's so difficult because all of them are coming from different backgrounds, social backgrounds, different religion, so much of differences there, economic background. So as Alka ma'am said, there is a digital divide, and you handled, kudos to you that you could handle in different situations. New techniques could be used and you could sort out the problem. So thank you so much for your precious time. And if you see the timing, it's 3 hours. I think this is going to be some sort of a record. I will try to, post it somewhere and see whether it's a record or not. But it's great. And 3 hours is not a joke because we've been sitting here from 11:30, and also so many people who are, I would say, that are constantly, who have been there with us, giving us encouragement and encouraging all the speakers, encouraging me to conduct more and more. And this is a very good sign because so much information is there that, when you want to give a lot more. So on that note, I think I should stop, and I'm really hopeful that this is just the beginning, and we are going to have lots and lots of creative webinars where we can give you more time to share with the audiences. And so thank you once again, right from the session 1, from all the speakers who spoke first and all those who joined in the second session. Thanks for taking out this precious time on a Sunday when you had to spend time with your family. You have given 3 hours to the cause of education and our educators. So thank you so much. And thank you all the listeners, and we hope to meet soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.